There you go.
Thanks.
I was also supposed to talk to you about the mortgage.
Sweet.
And then,
Can I write it down somewhere?
yes, please do. Write it here.
We're seeing each other after class today, right? For your banner. Did you forget about this? We can do it next week.
Yeah, because somebody is going to come, and then, how long do you think it will take?
Well, we can just do it next week, if that's better for you.
Yeah.
Because it depends on, it just depends on what you want to know. Agent.kellermortgage.com. Go there, fill in your MyKW stuff. And then, you watch a 10-minute video and you got it on your app.
It's not the
It
color
takes a little
mortgage.
bit of time.
I did that and it hasn't come yet. Did they send
When did you do it?
About a week ago?
It still hasn't shown up?
No, they said, I think they said it was gonna be about 15 days.
Okay.
Did they email me something that?
No, it just shows up on your app.
Okay.
You might want to check it when I can have it. Because they say it in 2 weeks, but some people also remember they got it in the hour.
And then the technology class, do you want that? So we'll have to do it on Thursday.
Yeah.
So, I can't go because I work that day, but.
That's a 30-year.
It,
And I'm waiting,
do you have a PC at home?
Hi, yes, is this Kate?
Well, if you want to.
This is Marcia from Keller Williams.
I can just show you stuff.
We're in one of our open houses this past weekend, in Gilbert.
If you want to do a one-on-one thing too with me, just get
I'm not sure if you remember, you saw most of the place, but it was in Pheasant Street. Oh, okay, but I'm like, oh, really, so they gave me this here, okay, I'm sorry about that. So you're still in, are you still looking for?
I think you should get for top computer now. I think you have a Mac. It's a good.
Well, you have my number, and, you know, you know, somebody who's looking, I mean,
You can get an iPad, but then you also.
and also to see how much, your house is worth, you know, somebody has done an analysis already to the value of your home, and see how much you could get for your house. I can help you with that. Yeah.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
we're fighting.
Yes, absolutely. I got my number, 956-9593.
Anything very simple, which I really appreciate. I just want to upgrade more. So,
Oh, you're calling all the people from the.
new update comes out or something, I can expand the graphics, we can do my graphics
So
card,
Jeff, like,
buy a processor,
keep the list
you can
of all
fix
your
it as
guys.
as possible with a Mac.
Oh, okay. So who's opening?
But,
This
yeah,
month, well,
you
that's
can
a
get
big
away with
closing
it. I have
shirt.
an iPad downstairs.
Tell them you put your
Just tell me what?
that they want to open house this weekend.
Look on, look
But no,
on
that they decided not to buy a car, so they're gonna be doing remodeling.
Do you know what I'll
So, is it like a?
Yeah, let's see your stuff. You know what it would think. Yeah, you get an app on your phone and offer us something back.
So this guy that I called had gone to an open house and about a month ago.
Yeah.
And he said that they decided that they were gonna remodel their house.
Okay.
So I just talked to him about, you know, I had looked at the house, let me know, and then I said, and I don't know if somebody has already done like an analysis to see how much the house is worth,
100%.
right?
Yeah, 100%. What do you say?
Yeah, oh yeah, we just wondered how much like a month ago.
Okay. So people who remodel are only happy for a little bit. So keep calling them. Yeah, don't give up on them. Nope. Just write your note and then keep following them. So, and then, so like the next time you call, how's your remodel going? Do you need any contractors? All that kind of stuff. And then you can help, you can give them a recommendation or something. Or are you remodeling for your house, or you're remodeling to sell it? Oh, because they maybe
Sell it.
yeah.
I don't know, yeah. But obviously they weren't happy about something.
Yeah, so.
100%. That's what. Yep. So they weren't happy with their house, so there's a problem. Mhm. Yeah. So another good question is, are you planning on moving in the next 5 years? And if they say no, then fine. If they say yeah, all right. Well, just so you know, interest rates were at 4% in January, and now they're at 5%. So do you think that your house, if you wait 5 years, do you think interest rates are going to go up or down? Up, right? Okay, great. So when would be a good time for me to sit down and show you, what it's going to cost you to buy a house now versus in 5 years? And then you get your appointment. And then you find one of us to help you figure that out. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, sounds great, thanks, Silvana. Okay, we'll talk soon. Okay, hey, let me know when you're in town, we'll meet up. Okay. Sounds good, bye.
I was happy that he was the one.
It's hard to do eye contact in that time period.
No.
She's my hair girl.
If you talk to someone
In Chicago, and her
Right, if you have
sister
5
works
good
here.
conversations.
And
100%.
she
I understand
is
that.
actually thinking
But
about doing too, so.
you just gotta get in the habit of doing it, and the reason
She's like,
why,
"Oh, I will."
like, not all the
That's
instructors
perfect. That's perfect. I think it'd be like,
yeah,
yeah,
the reason
don't
why I
know
want to do
that,
it is because I want to show you what we can get done in 2 minutes.
That's
So you're busy, right? How long is it your ride home from Allegiant to home?
how you get through
like
the
half
house.
hour.
Alright, so you can call 5 people.
I feel like I
Okay,
kind of.
so
The only thing is right on down.
So, I can tell she's like,
Just,
oh.
you know what,
Okay,
what I did
text
before,
you.
because I've done it
Just
too,
say,
where I
"Hey,
called my
I'm
friend in
nice to meet
Chicago,
you."
and she was like, okay, you're acting really weird.
And then just have
And
a
so
conversation.
what I did is when I got home, I called her and I said, listen, I'm sorry, but I had to do it
I'm
for
driving,
class,
I'm
and,
driving, I'll call you back.
she's like, oh yeah, and I said, I hope you don't mind if I call you every now and then, just to kind of, get my practice in, and she was like, yeah, absolutely.
Here more because I never normally call her.
Okay, so,
So it would just be.
what's your holiday suggestion for
I'll
any year?
just
Tell
tell
me more
her
about that.
that.
What
Well, probably, I mean, I literally did have to send the information on the street.
So why the year? What's the-
House, so, yeah, I didn't ask that.
So that's
Yeah.
the thing, you'll get better once you, why the year? Because if it's
Well,
because
I think she'd
you're
understand
saving for
if you
down
just
payment,
tell her,
well, interest
you know,
rates are rising,
be like, I'm
and
sorry,
rising
I know we don't
since
talk very
January,
often, but.
4% in January, they're 5% right now. What do you think the interest rates are gonna be in a year?
Ooh, you're
Right,
good,
right?
you're quick, you're
Therefore,
smart.
why don't we get together and let's sit down and go to plan together
This
what a
person
like to buy a
is a
house now
realtor.
versus waiting.
Laura,
Because
when
if
she's
you have
super sweet, too
$300
bad
a
she's
month
a
to
realtor,
spend
she
on
would have been a
exact
perfect
house,
contact, she knows a ton of
that's
people.
gonna happen.
That's how she's been really successful,
So,
she's had so many
you can
family and
start
friends
putting
buy homes from her.
Okay.
But they want
Okay,
and
and
she
how-
doesn't-
how
do you
she works
search
for a
in
really
MLS
tough
for a
broker.
house?
So she doesn't have a whole lot
But
of
she
overhead.
doesn't want a house
So
where you
she
have to bring in her
right
own
down,
water.
so she's got a
Look
lot
at
of
that.
business for family and friends wanting to have.
I live where I
help
think
them
of.
for a really
Why does she
big
want
price.
Well,
yeah,
but at the same time.
She's getting the business
Because they
though.
have like a trailer and they have. Alusha's making the toys.
Yeah,
They don't know each other.
exactly, yeah, she's
She's
been
been
successful at it.
She'd like an RV garage or a workshop if they have one.
budget?
She said 300, 400,000, but she hasn't done a pre-qual, so.
So, when you find out, let me know.
I know, but she said she's willing to go to Chino Valley.
Okay, so she's wanting to go anywhere. Okay, so she must be retired.
She's like East Valley or Chino Valley. And you know what, I bought my house for 320 and it's
What
on
year?
acre. It'll be 2 years in November.
Do you know how much houses are appreciating right now?
Well,
Not yet.
Depending on the area. So normal Phoenix is 3 to 5%. Okay, so if your house
Gilbert
is
is like 9%.
appreciated 8%, 9% 2 years ago, how much more is it worth? Have you done the same thing on your own house?
no.
I encourage you to do that.
Okay.
But your thought process is the exact consumer, and that's why our jobs are so important, because we have to educate them. Because they think in their mind that they can go get what you just said for $200,000 down a few years ago. Like, so
Yeah.
we have to show them all that. And the first step is to get them with the lender, because
I
then
should
they're
call
gonna
this
say,
old former coworker of mine.
yeah.
And
That's a good lead, but I would just encourage you to dig deeper on why the year. Because if, my thing is, if you're moving in the next 5 years, you need to move now, because interest rates are rising. And so it's gonna cost you more money. If you're gonna stay plus 5 years, fine, then maybe that's not the same conversation. But, yeah.
one, every time I've spent 45 minutes on the phone with her before. She likes to.
Did you get a referral? or
No, it
anything?
was for the need to sell, want to buy, but she's having a hard time understanding why homes in her neighborhood aren't selling for as much as other neighborhoods. And
Okay.
she bought 2006 and she paid a lot for her home, and so she's kind of having a hard time. And I told her about interest rates rising. She paid a lot in 2006, and it's not worth much more.
But she wants
right
to
now.
have 6 parcels?
She wants to move closer for her husband's commute. She wants to be like North Mesa, and she wants 4-car garage. Like, she wants a lot.
Okay.
And I've showed her one just to kind of establish a relationship. And I was in the area, and she's not a player in the game because she needs to sell before she can buy. And now she's going off about how she maybe wants to buy some land. So I tried to set up an appointment, but because she is kind of difficult to understand on the phone.
Okay, so you.
There's a little bit of a language barrier, and I did a kind of my first CMA on her house. I kind of gave her a list of a range. I don't know without being inside of it. She
What language is it?
no, it's not Spanish.
Is it Thai? I have Thai.
So it's just kind of it's just not. I feel bad because I don't want to pressure her. She's not gonna make just what she wants. What it doesn't make sense in my mind too, but I want to just kind of keep practicing with her.
I heard the example about buying stock. Okay, so let's say you bought some stock in 2005 and it sold for $100 a share, right? And say now we want to sell the stock, but the market is just only worth $25. How much are you going to be able to sell that stock?
$25.
Right. So just because you paid $100 for it back in whatever year doesn't mean that you're going to get the same amount, right? And so even though you want the $100, you're only going to get $25.
Right. And that's why, and I think she's realizing that. She doesn't think it's fair. She's because she's Sunset or something Grove, Val Vista, Highway. She keeps comparing to Agora Trails. What's going on there? And she's like, same building. Same
So your shells are 3 trucks every 30
Well, and my
It's
teacher.
way too Yeah, absolutely. She's got
Yeah, so the only other thing you can do is listen to cards. So find a house that's like hers, the same,
I'm still trying to get.
whatever.
Yeah.
Go show her house in the gorgeous that is that price, and then we'll have her.
Some of these are.
I think that's gonna scare her even more to not sell though.
So then you're gonna have to go on the virgin pleasure, right? For Kate is what?
Yeah, and her kids just moved out. She has a 2-story big house. She has a business in it, but she has drapery stuff, so she's doing all sorts of stuff around there.
Okay.
So she wants that 4-car garage to do her business in the garage.
Okay, so her choices are to continue to not go into the business, right? Because you want to If I were you, I
I said I understand that your home, you may not get what you want out of your home, but you have really good choices to what makes you happy. You want to be in your, so, and she said, yeah, she said,
Basically,
so I'm gonna send me, I gotta find,
Don't let that one take it out, to where you're not finding better ones.
right, for specific.
Okay, everyone, let's wrap it up. Does anybody have some good calls that they want to share? No? Anybody get any appointments?
Almost.
Almost? So you're calling some open house people. It sounds like you have a bunch of them. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I got this list from Jeff Price,
Yep.
and I call a lot of people, but like you said, I think a lot of them were based on my area code, they were kind of like, what's going on? But this guy answered, so he's the one that I think he's definitely a potential, and I'll follow up.
Awesome. That's good.
Heather, I have a quick question about
Yeah.
open house. I know you do a lot of open houses.
I do.
What are your thoughts on the sign-in sheet and requiring it, or trying to get information,
From people?
yeah, on a personal level?
So here's my scenario. So I have 2 beautiful kids at home, okay? I work a bunch of hours, and on Saturdays and Friday, or mostly Friday evenings and Saturdays, that's when I like to do them. My kids are at home having fun with my family, okay? They're getting to swim, do whatever they want. I feel like if I'm going to take that time away from my family, I'm getting that damn phone number, okay? So, like, and I'm dead serious about it. If you're going to come in and look at the house, we're going to trade. That being said, I have to show them value as to why that's important, right? And so I always try to, and you're more than welcome to shadow me on an open house. We get business so my expectation is that I will get a deal for every 2 open houses I do. I should get 1 deal from that lead generation. And there's a whole process behind it. It's not just putting your signs out and being at the house. It's circle prospecting and all that other stuff. And happy, you guys are, seriously, my doors are always open. You can do any of those activities with me whenever you want. So I always get information. Fidelity Title has those open house kits. They're free. If you want to get connected with Dawn, let me know. I can do that for you. And it's just a sign-in sheet. And on the front page, it asks their opinion of the house. And people love to give their opinion of the house. And so, like, is the house clean? Is it priced right? Blah, 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 blah. So I say, hey, will you fill this out for me? The homeowners love the feedback. And then they'll start filling it out. And on the back, you say, okay, can I get your information? And if for some reason I don't even give them an option, actually. I just say fill out the back as well. If for some reason they're hesitant, then I'll catch them with the app. So I'll say, hey, you guys probably go to a lot of open houses, right? And they'll say, yeah. Say, okay, well, let me give you my app. It's more accurate than Zillow and Trulia. And I'll pull it up and I'll say, look, you can just do the circle and you can see all the open houses around you. Do you want it? And they'll say, yeah. I say, okay, give me your phone number. Boom, got it. Okay? So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think it affects, business when, like you, I have an out-of-state phone number? Is that something, I don't want to change my number if I don't have to, because, everybody I know knows my number.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I have a 520 phone number. Like, when we dial internet leads, and so sometimes I think that affects it but there's ways around it. You can get a dialer, and then a dialer you can put any phone number in you want, but no. And so I encourage you to quit thinking of ways that you're not going to do business. Like, don't worry about it and just do it. It doesn't matter that you have the number, keep calling it, they're eventually going to answer. So I wouldn't worry about it. And Phoenix is like, I bet nobody's from Phoenix here, are they? I'm from Arizona, that's it. But see, we're transplant. Everyone comes, so don't worry about that. Okay? Did that answer your open house question? You get the information. Were you going to ask a question?
No, I'm just
okay.
happy to know that Dawn provides the kids.
Oh,
Open house.
have you seen? Oh, they're so cool.
Are they?
You call him,
Yeah.
and I'll give you his phone number right now. Here, I'll just give it to you.
I might. Yeah, let me know if I have it or not.
You can send him a text right now. And I do that. Every person that has an open house with me gets a text. So his number is 702-683-9087. And he has a little box, and it's an open house kit, and has everything you need in there. I think there's even like balloons if you want. There's like a sign-in sheet, all kinds of stuff. 702-683-9087. And just so you know, he does buyer guides and seller guides as well. You don't have to recreate the wheel, just use their stuff.
So he's a lender.
He's a title rep with Fidelity. He's a big, loud guy. You probably see him on the videos. He's cool. Okay, so let's see. So now we're going to talk about the offer stuff that we're supposed to be talking about. So do you guys have your Ignite, your little checklist? Your book? No? So this is a checklist of things that you need, okay, when you're making an offer. So what I did is I printed off these offers that we just got. So we're going to go through each one of them together. Have you guys read the purchase contract? Let's start there.
Yeah.
Yeah? You guys want to do a quiz on it?
Yeah.
How long is your inspection period?
10 days.
How long do you have to respond? How many? When do you order the appraisal?
The lender does right after.
So when you tell them to, right? Put that in. What happens if it doesn't appraise?
We have to pay for whatever's
You can
extra.
cover the gap, or they can come down, or you can walk away.
If your buyer reads the HOA documents and doesn't like something in there, how can they cancel? Yeah?
Within a certain time.
What's that time?
If they get reason why.
5 days? Yeah. Let's see, you want this one. There's a TV attached to the wall, does it say?
The bracket, not the TV.
Good job. Let's see here.
I love this rapid fire stuff you're doing. This is great stuff.
My brain is.
Okay.
There's one more option with the appraisal though, you can challenge it.
100%.
Yeah. Yes.
Explain that.
So the,
I have to do this a lot. So if it comes in and it's low, if you're working with a buyer, then you should be able to see the appraisal. It's a little tougher when you're the listing agent, because it belongs to the buyer, right? So you have to gently and kindly ask the listing agent, if the listing agent will ask the buyer to share it with you, because you're trying to help save the deal, obviously. So most times you'll get that. You will then look at the appraisal, see what comps the appraiser used, and then you're gonna do your own little analysis, which, I showed you how to do it like an appraiser does, and do your own CMA. Try to find comps that better support your property, right? Try to find some problems with the appraisal, like, wait a minute. This property has 3 bathrooms, and he compared one with 2 bathrooms, but he didn't offset it, okay? He didn't adjust. So look for his adjustments, and just kind of be a little detective. Look at his photos. I had an appraisal where they didn't take any pictures of this beautiful courtyard that had just been completely gutted and redone, which was a value add. They missed a bathroom.
Jeez.
The master bathroom, right?
You're paying them $500 for that too.
Right? The master bathroom had 2 shower heads, rain shower head, multiple handles, huge shower, and a standalone, beautiful standalone tub, right? With the cool stuff that you see. He took one picture of the master bathroom with the countertop, showing one sink, which it was a dual sink. So he didn't take pictures of the entire master bathroom that was completely redone and beautiful, right? And amazing. And so I contacted the lender, the underwriter, they contacted the underwriter. I sent them photos, my own photos, and my own set of comparables, and the underwriter said it doesn't even look like the same property.
and you're doing that as a listing agent, trying to get
Yeah.
the appraisal up,
Yeah.
not as a buyer's agent, because we don't want them to have to pay our buyer to actually
Right.
pay more.
If you're on the listings, well, I mean,
No.
it just depends.
You wanna
because
make it a
want to save the
win-win.
deal for your buyer. If you think it's wrong,
Right.
and it's low, then you fight it, because
I
it's,
thought in real estate school they said it's really hard to get an appraisal to change.
So you're challenging it not with the appraiser, but with the buyer?
Yeah, it's one person's opinion.
it's an opinion of value. So
One.
you bring that to the lender, they look it over, their underwriter looks it over. If the underwriter thinks, yeah, I see there's kind of a problem here, they contact the appraisal management company. And in this case, the appraisal management company said, yeah, this was garbage. They threw it out, did a new appraisal, so it came in $30,000 below, and then came in $20,000 above.
Yeah.
So that saved my client thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? So don't be afraid to do a little homework. But what I'm trying to tell you guys, do that on the front end.
100%.
Don't do it after you've got a horrible number. Do your homework, send that to the appraiser, meet the appraiser at the property, have a nice conversation, say, hey, do you mind if I send you some comps and some photos, and a list of all the stuff that my buyer or seller, or the seller did to the home. Just be proactive, so they don't have to go digging and chasing it down and trying to figure it out. Make their job easy.
100%. Okay, so we're gonna go through, we'll look at this offer together, think about if you're a buyer or seller, I don't really care, okay? So this came to our inbox yesterday, we have 2 offers we're gonna go through, and you're gonna decide which one, if you were the homeowner, which one you would accept, okay? So this is real and legit. So I get this offer in my email with no phone call, just surprise, just, woo, there it is, there it is. Here's the offer. That's literally the verbiage it says, okay? Call the listing agent. I like to talk to people. Call the listing agent to talk about his offer, and he told me he's in the Bahamas and he'd rather text because it costs a certain dollars a minute to talk to me, okay? So I tell you all this because it really happens. So if you have any doubts about how good you are, know that there's 600 people a month getting their real estate license, and there's some idiots out there, okay? So you should be very confident that, one, you've even been through these classes, you're so far ahead of the average agent, okay? Whether you believe it or not, it's true. And I can tell you, there's example 1. Okay, So the first thing we do is I look through the offer, and then we do a cost sheet basically for our clients. And I like to talk to the other agent first just to get an idea of what's going on, what's their people's scenario. Also listen for tips and stuff for my clients as well. But so what we can do is make it a win-win and get our clients the best offer. The best offer is not always the most money. A solid offer is better than a higher offer that's a little janky. Okay, so this is the packet they got us. So this is their disclosure. We fill these out on the buyer side, right? It says Keller Williams Integrity first at the top, your name, and this is just going through how you're representing your client. So in this case, they're telling us that Russell Mills is representing Frank Anderson as a buyer's broker, and he's allowed to show properties that his brokerage owns as well. Okay, so next page is the warning. And I was quizzing you guys really need to know that. Like, that is so important. Like, you need to read this every single day. You should know every single line of this contract, and I'm not joking, okay? If you're not, you're doing a disservice to your client. And so when we write offers with our buyers, we go through the contract with them because that's our job, okay? We make a lot of money. So it's your job to help them be educated, one. Two, it prevents so much problems in the middle. If you tell them that, look it, as a seller, 3 days before close of escrow, the buyer can cancel and they're going to get their earnest money back if they no longer qualify for the house. At the end, if that happens, you already told them 30 days ago, right? So it's not a surprise that that can happen, okay? Okay, so for the first page, we're going to go through it too. I'll go through it as if you were my buyer, and this is how I would explain it, okay? So here's some warnings. Every time someone gets sued, we get another line. So we're going to read through the seller property disclosure statements. We're going to get those in the first 5 days. It's going to be a list of like 150 questions of everything they know about the house. Take it with a grain of salt. It's based on honesty. If there's anything you have questions on in that time, let us know, and we'll help you find the resources to get there. We're going to make sure that you get an inspection. You can hire an inspection that we use on an inspector that we use on our own properties, or if you have one that you know and love, you're welcome to give us information and we'll get that scheduled. We recommend a termite inspection in Arizona, and if there's a pool, we recommend a pool. And if there's anything else that's really important to you that we didn't recommend, let's get it inspected because it's your house and it's your job in these 10 days to do your due diligence, okay? During the 10 days, you need to make sure that you can confirm insurance. Side note, if you guys don't make sure in those 10 inspection days that they got insurance, if the day before close when the lender's asking for it, it's uninsurable, that is not a reason that you get your earnest money back, okay? So on day 10, do you really love this house? Did you get insurance for it? Is there anything else that you need to do before we proceed, okay? So make sure that they understand that. Number 5 doesn't apply to us because we're only going to show properties to people who are pre-approved. 6 is a title commitment, which is a document you get from the title company. You need to make sure your clients review it. 7 is the rules of the community. And then 8 is that we're going to do a walkthrough with the people a couple days before close to make sure that all the repairs that were done, and if the house isn't burnt down. Okay, so next page. So the buyer who wants to buy our house, his name is Frank. I know nothing about Frank because his agent didn't tell me anything about him, okay? So those are our sellers. That's our property address. You want to check and make sure the assessor's number and all that kind of stuff is correct. So line 10 is the purchase price, so they're offering $314,000. I think ours is listed for $314,900 or something. It's a good price, okay? $2,000 earnest money. So earnest money in our buyer consultations, we tell everyone 1 to 2% is the plan on that, okay? It sits in with the title company, and it's a deposit showing them that they're earnest, okay? They're going to put $5,000 down, and they're going to finance $306,000, okay? The earnest money is going to go line 17. Earnest money is going to go personal check. I like to write on line 11 where it says to be applied to down payment. I actually put and will be deposited within 2 business days, so that way it gives your buyer some time to get that money over there. Otherwise, the contract says immediately, so immediately can be interpreted 100 different ways. Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry, what line is that on?
The earnest money, line 11.
I don't have that time period, did you say?
It's up to you, but I think 2 business days is a fair amount, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, it gives you some time actually to go get your check instead of rushing around.
I mean, yeah, the title companies will send couriers and come get the checks, and there's no reason to take any longer than that.
Yeah,
So do you write that on the line next to it?
I do,
2
yeah.
business days?
within 2 business days, line 11. And remember, your job in here is to get the deal. We'll help you once you get it, okay? Don't worry, don't make this feel like, I don't know anything. Just keep reading it, you'll get it. You're not gonna know it when you go to write the deal anyways. We're here to help you guys, okay? So, what day we wanna close? So they wanna close on the 24th, so let's look at the calendar. My clients are buying a new house, so we're gonna put them in a rental. So we just need, they're buying a new build. So they wanna close on a Monday at the end of the month. That's gonna be fun for the title companies. So that's okay, it gives my clients 30 days to move out. One of the things you're gonna ask the listing agent when you talk to them, or excuse me, the buyer's agent is that time frame flexible? Because maybe my clients would love to lease back the property, but we have to see, which is another reason why you call the agents when you present your offers. And line 32, they wanna take possession at close of escrow. Yeah, go ahead.
If they wanna lease the property, would that be a different contract? You don't.
Lease it back?
Yeah.
It'd be on here and it's all over the document.
Okay.
And then 36 is all the addendums. So the one you want to pay attention to is the HOA addendum, of course. Well, all of them actually. But if there's a buyer contingency, we see that a lot in our market right now. And then in some of the rural ones, you're going to see like the on-site wastewater, which is like a septic tank. If it's an older house, you'll see the lead-based paint disclosure, that kind of good stuff, okay? Their initials there. So the next page is all the personal property that stays with the house.
Heather, one thing I want to say about the HOA.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't know HOA, so I got left my board out here just so I can learn to
Okay.
in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
And it's really important to check with the community manager, if it's a big community, like all the different stipulations, because there's a lot of happy people and it's in the CCNR, so if you don't know, it's on you.
Right, 100%. And so we'll look at the HOA document on this too, and we'll talk more about that. Because this property is an HOA, okay? So the next page is everything that stays. This client on line 56, they want our client's refrigerator, and they want the spa, and they want any spa manuals, and they want the overhead storage bin in the garage. Right? So another thing when you're writing up offers, I want you to think about, so we have 2 offers, we're going to compare them and see the differences, but you want to be the easy buyer. You want to be the best agent to work with, like, let's make this a win. Let's not be a pain in the asses. If you're a pain in the ass from the start, it's going to be a pain in the ass for 30 days. So people know that, and they see it on here. When you go ask for all the appliances and a home warranty, and I want closing costs, and I want the carpets cleaned, and I want this, and I want that. Maybe in the buyer's market, but we're in the seller's market right now, okay? So think about when you're writing the offer as a buyer's agent. If I was on the other side, what would I think when I get this offer, okay? And sometimes our buyers have to be coached on that kind of stuff and what's appropriate and not appropriate. Remember, we do this every single day. They do not. They think they know what they know, but they don't. So we have to gently educate them, okay? So they want those overhead storage bins, which by the way are attached, so they would go anyways. So you don't even need the writing. What do you think about the information and manuals for operation?
I mean,
So what happens if my seller doesn't have a manual?
Right, I agree with you, like, you're committing to, you sign this, you're committing to that, and if you don't have them, then you have to write a counteroffer
Right.
or an addendum to say I don't have them, it's just messy.
Right.
So they could have just asked.
It could have been an email. Hey,
Yes,
and by the
could have been an
way,
email.
we're so excited to swim in that hot tub. My kids are gonna love it. If you have any manuals, would you mind leaving them?
Right.
Totally, right? And so now we're irritated because now we have to go find a manual. But if we would have had the other way, we would have been so happy to do it, right?
You
Okay.
can just go online and
Think about
download.
that. 100%.
Seems like TMI for like an actual contract.
Yeah, so, okay, so we go through, so, lease items are not included in the sale, so if there's a solar lease and stuff like that, we'd be having a different conversation. So financing, so, the pre-qualification is attached, and I have it, and then the loan contingency, what I was talking about. So if, as a seller, your sellers all need to know this. If 3 days prior to close of escrow, the buyer cannot perform, they lost their job, anything, if their lender will write a letter, this deal is done, and they'll get their earnest money back, okay? So your sellers you need to know that, okay? Let's see.
How about the financing line?
Which one?
Line 97, type of financing.
Oh, on the next page?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Okay. Let's see, so line 87, it's cool, we wanna set a loan status update every week, my team gets it, and I'll go through our process of that, okay? So, let's see, line 97, right? Okay, 97, right, so they disclosed to you, what do you know what that is?
Nope.
Indian funding, I know what it
Okay.
is, I grew up on a reservation.
Okay, cause
You're like,
you did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So-
so I'm looking at the numbers on the front page, I'm like, those don't add up. Those don't even add up.
Right,
How did they come up with that
the
calculation?
total,
Well, because the down is,
So
so,
is that
okay.
what section 184
So-
means? It's the-
so there's different types of loan. There's a conventional loan, FHA, VA, USDA, all kinds of loans, seller carryback, okay? So this agent is disclosing that the type of financing they're getting is section 184. It's similar to like a down payment assistance program and things like that. It's for Native American people, that makes them eligible to use it. So, but think of it as a down payment assistance program.
Yeah, I've never had one of those.
Yeah.
Cool, good to know.
Yeah, they're, yeah, it's a down payment assistance. They have, wait till you see the interest rate on it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
good. It's
Is
really,
it?
yeah,
Oh,
it's really
great.
good. Uh-huh. So you're seeing the numbers in the front don't add up?
No, I'm saying, I
okay.
was looking at,
At the
going,
way-
wait a minute, that's not enough
Yeah.
of a down payment,
Okay.
even for FHA, you know?
Right, because it's low. So let's talk about that. So she brought up a good point. So up at the front, it talks about your down payment. So like, this sort of, you can tell like how strong of a buyer is, right? If they're putting $100,000 down, they're probably a really strong buyer. They probably got their shit together. So that's probably better than someone who's just starting out, right? Who's an FHA buyer. Not saying they're not gonna get qualified because there's plenty of great buyers out there. They're just starting out. So if you have to pick between grandma who has half stashed down or the brand new one, probably go with grandma, right? So like, there's different people to look at. So that's a great point. So their down payment is $5,000. So it's probably one of the more minimum down payments. So there's more risk. So
I just wish he would have written finance through whatever, Indian, you know,
through the plan,
yeah, so that
Like
you know
what down
upfront
payments what it is,
what's going on there.
right? Because most people don't know that.
No, I didn't.
too.
I've been a realtor
You've
for
been
27
forever.
years, I didn't know that, so it's like, what are you doing here?
Okay, so the seller concessions, line 100. So sometimes buyers ask for closing cost assistance, right? And this is where it's communicated. It could be in a percentage or a dollar amount. And so I encourage you, if you have a buyer, before you go writing a contract, you need to talk to that lender. And if they need seller concessions, you need to know that. You need to know what the number is. Because there's nothing worse than a buyer thinking that they're getting everything covered, and all of a sudden at the end have to come up with $1,000 that they don't have, right? That's on us. It's our job as professionals. They have no idea what it costs to get that number from the lender. The lender has the number. Every lender is different. That's why you have to communicate with them so you can make sure that you have everything correct. And if you have any other tips, please.
Oh, you're not, I don't wanna interrupt you, but
You're fine.
that's very true, and that's why it's so important to establish good relationships with some lenders and find out which ones are gonna be available, cause you're on the fly a lot of times, you're writing something, you're on the fly, you're like, oh my gosh, they didn't even tell me they needed closing cost assistance, now we have to figure that out. You wanna get a lender who will, you can text or call and say, I'm in the middle of a contract, they need seller concessions, tell me how much,
100%.
you know, so get relationships going.
Okay, so 183, if something changes, if they switch lender or something like that, they have to tell the other party, okay? You have to tell them. 107, there's an appraisal contingency. So if a house appraises for the price on the contract or higher, we're all good. If it appraises lower, then we have to renegotiate that, okay? Let's see, in this line, the appraisal costs on 111, they said the buyer's gonna pay for them, okay? So title company, they want to use Pioneer Title, and they have their title company lady there. That's not our preferred lender, or our preferred title company, but that's okay. And then these are just instructions for title.
Well,
Good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If it appraises higher, the buyer might not have all the
payment?
Yeah, like,
So there, if it appraises higher, it's okay, it's only based on the contract price. So the buyer just walked in with some equity.
Yeah, which hardly ever happens.
It's a good question. Yeah.
It actually happens once in a while.
I saw one for $20,000 the other day.
Yeah, and I was like,
My buyer.
that's great. Good work, Heather.
That was the message. Okay, so let's see. This talking about taking title, getting a title commitment. I encourage you to sit down with the title company of your choice to walk through a title commitment so you know exactly what's on that and how you can be of help to your clients. So next page, again, all just instructions for the title company. Tell them what they need to do. Tell them they have to order plat maps, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Line 150, when you're reviewing offer, you want to check just to make sure that there's no prorations or something that they're trying to put onto a seller or buyer. 154 is the seller property disclosure statements. You're going to review all those, insurance claims history. So I'll give you 2 tips on this. So if you're taking a listing, we like to put, I guess everybody's different, but if you have a pretty clean spuds, put them up on there so that people can see them, right?
Did I tell that to you? No.
It's up in the document section. Just put them up there. It's just that way. So, and we tell our sellers, be so honest on those. We don't want something to get you in 10 years, okay? And people don't care. You're excited. You bought this house. Oh, there's a roof leak. I don't care. Look at this pool, right? And then when it leaks in 2 months and they're having buyer's remorse because they saw the payment for the pool, now there's a leak. Oh my gosh, they never told us anything about that. I cannot believe that. That is so bad. Yeah, they did. It's in the spuds. So like, be completely honest. The buyers don't care at that point. Like, and get it over with and be good. So we always upload ours in the MLS. The same thing with the insurance claims history. Another thing you want to check on insurance claims history is they want 5 years. Sometimes people switch insurance companies and they're only going to give you 2 years. We need to make sure that we're collecting the full 5 years for our clients, okay? There's also a difference between insurance claims history and a clue report. So you can order a clue report. It costs money. I think it's like $25 or something like that. Insurance claims history can sometimes maybe leave things off. If you're really good, you just advise them to order the clue report, okay? It's like $25. So
You're telling the buyer to order that?
we do. So let me blanket that. It's in a templated email and it says we recommend this.
Okay.
I don't follow up on it.
Gotcha.
I do follow up on the 5-year stuff.
No, I do too, but
But not the
I
other
don't do
one?
the clue, but that's good advice.
I just put it in there
Yep.
and then if
There
they
you
want
go,
to
then
do
you're
it.
covered.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's see, disclosure, we already did that. Lead-based paint, they have to disclose if they know anything about lead-based paint and age. So our house is new, so we didn't have to do anything. Next page.
but if we don't let the buyer know that they can do that, then it's on us, like
The clue report?
Yeah.
So the buyer has 10 days to do a due diligence. And Keller Williams February 1st, we make all of our buyers sign a buyer advisory, and that tells them in there that they have to do it, so you're covered.
But the contract says the seller will provide the 5-year
Claims history.
claims history.
Have non-report.
Okay.
And again, what's gonna happen, right? So let's say there was a roof leak and they didn't disclose it, you're getting sued. Like, we're depending on people being honest through this, and if not, then it has to go out somewhere besides with us.
Well, there's times where a seller hasn't owned the property for 5 years.
100%.
So then what do? You just gotta go with what you got.
Or if they're an investor.
Yeah, I've seen some that said no spuds, no clue.
They shouldn't say that, but
Right.
they do it.
They have to.
100%.
Not appropriate to say that, but, so don't ever say that.
Because if you represent an investor, they've owned the property for 15 days, they know the name, they know the street name, they know stuff about that property. Maybe they don't know all the details of it, but they can put what they know on it.
I flip and I own a property for 60, 90 days before it goes under contract.
Right.
I know a lot about that house.
100%.
And I put everything I know on there because I don't want to get sued.
Right. We don't want to be back talking about that property in 10 years.
No.
So, we're done. Okay, so let's see. So this next page that we checked is the inspection period on line 213. They want a normal 10-day inspection period. If you're trying to sweeten the deal for your buyers, maybe do a 7-day inspection period or 5 if you know your inspector can get out there. Honestly, it doesn't take 10 days to do everything if you're on top of it. Order your shit right at the beginning and then you're good to go. So, square footage if it's important to them, they need to know. Termites if they want a termite treatment. A lot of inspectors will partner with termite people on that, so it's still only one call. Flood hazard, they need to do all their due diligence, and they need to do it. And so on day 10, we have 3 questions we ask. 1, do you still love the property? 2, is there any repairs, or if you love it like it is? And then 3, did you read the buyer advisory and did you check everything you wanted to check? This is your last chance. I'm telling you right now. Draw on the line. This is it, okay? They need to love that house, okay? And all that comes with it. So, line 237, the homeowner's insurance, we talked about that. And the reason why I tell you guys, like in Maricopa, if you saw Maricopa, there's a lot of places down there that are in the flood zone. So you have to pay a premium for insurance. So if you have a buyer whose ratios for debt to income ratio are like right on the edge, adding flood insurance would put you over and now your deal's done, okay? So make sure that they're getting that insurance all worked out in that 10 days. 241, our stuff's not a sewer system, so we don't have to worry about that. We don't have a swimming pool, blah, blah,
But
blah.
if you're a listing agent, be careful that you know what you have, because there's properties in
100%.
Apache Junction and Mesa that are on a septic that you wouldn't really think they were. They look like they're a normal little subdivision.
55 plus, what is that one? A Dreamland Villa. Half
Yeah.
of it is septic
Right.
and half is sewer.
Right, so don't just don't just check that box and
Move on.
when
Right.
you're listing a home, make sure you really, really know what you're dealing with there.
Where do you find all that information out? Is it just-
Well, and then hopefully the owner, but sometimes they don't
Right,
know.
so double check though.
Yeah, like if it's a weird, I mean, if it's, I don't know, how would you like start, like I know like certain neighborhoods in Chandler or Gilbert, I'm like, yeah, I know they're sewer, they're not.
Right.
But if you're like on the outskirts, I mean, how do you kind of,
I just ask. And then if they don't know, say, do you pay a trash, water, and sewer bill, or do you pay just trash and water? Because if they're not paying a sewer bill, then it's probably something.
there you go.
So there's no way to go online and find out,
There
like,
should-
by
It's
zones or
always the
something?
same
Mine-
page or-
The city, yeah, so like if it's like, let's say it's the city of Mesa, call the city of Mesa, the sewer department or whatever, their utilities, and ask them.
Yeah.
And they'll know. Yeah, go ahead.
How much have you seen property values difference between sewer to conventional?
I don't do you. I live on a septic tank.
I don't think has anything to do with valuation on that.
Like, I don't think an appraiser's gonna, maybe in someone's mind it might be, but not an appraiser's going to.
I've never heard that an appraiser will
Me either, like that.
make an adjustment for.
I didn't think they looked, did they?
I don't even know if that's any criteria, honestly.
I don't think
I'd
so.
have to check, but.
Well, there is a septic inspection.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that's what I want, that's what I meant by make sure it's sewer, not septic, because if it's septic, that's another addendum that needs to be added to this purchase contract, and the
More
seller
rules.
is obligated to pay for a septic inspection and things like that, so there's another
Form,
piece of the puzzle to get handled.
100%. Okay, so going through, the next lines are the inspection period, telling them the days, and outlining the number of days. So we're at 275, we know we have to get back with them within 5 days, and then we have to get the repairs done. What's the repair? Oh, I just held it up. It's 3 days prior to close of escrow, the repairs need to be done, okay? A suggestion that we do if we represent buyers, is like a week before we start asking for it as a friendly reminder, so that way you're not waiting till the end to make sure that it's all done, because sometimes the sellers and the agents get all in a flusser, they don't know who scheduled what, etc., so that can kind of make things a little smoother. Let's see. Okay, so the next page, the home warranty. So 293, they're asking for a home warranty plan. The buyer wants one guard for $499, and then the buyer is actually going to pay for their own. Okay, that's awesome. The next lines are talking about walkthroughs, when you're going to do them, all that kind of good stuff. 305 FERPTA, if someone is, how about this? I have a Canadian buyer, no, Indian seller and a Canadian buyer. It's my first time in 10 years. Yeah. So just know if someone puts on the disclosures that they're a foreign buyer, there's extra work we need to get with the title company and the accountant to get it all worked out. Okay, so number 7 is what happens when you don't behave. So,
Good way to put it.
yeah, line 310 and number 7, the remedies. So if you don't behave, you get sent a cure notice, which is a slap on the wrist. You better do this in 3 days or you're in breach of contract, okay? And it outlines what happens if you are. Try not to be that. Let's see. Okay, the next page, line 8. They want the carpets to be professionally cleaned prior to close of escrow, okay? It's $150. They can clean their own carpets if you're the buyer, right? Like, that's something that the seller's gonna be like
That is a gift.
so annoyed that they did that, okay?
What is that?
And honestly, if they're bad, let's wait till the 10-day inspection period and ask for it on the Benzer when we've already got the contract, right? They know we have 2 deals, and so let's be nice.
Wouldn't that be something that like their realtor would be like, don't put that down, or kind of advise them like, well, let's not.
You'd
really
think,
do
right?
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's in the
This
Bahamas.
month is-
He's in the Bahamas.
Okay.
I think
You're
he
an
forgot.
advisor, you're not just a
Right.
salesperson, you're an advisor.
100%.
You say, do you wanna be
He's just a
strong?
beach
You want
right
your deal to be
now.
strong, you don't put
The
that on there.
Bahamas, that's right.
100%.
You can do lots of things, but don't put it there.
Yeah, at least wait until and like sometimes it is bad, right? And that's important to your clients. Then ask for it on the Benzer. Tell them right now. Okay. So next page talks about what happens if it gets struck by lightning, all that kind of good stuff. We look at line to see when they want a response. Okay. If you're the seller in our market, you're in control. So someone puts a 10-hour thing on there. I'm so sorry, Mr. Agent. I cannot get to my clients yet. We'll get back to you by and give them a time and a date and tell them, okay? So my team, we list all of our properties on Thursdays and at 3 p.m. And then they can't show it until Friday, and we review offers on Monday. And the reason is we're representing our sellers, and we feel like that's the best way to get multiple offers, and my numbers show it. I was at 98% list to value price last year, and I'm at 100.2% this year.
Nice.
And that's the only thing that we've changed. The market helps, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But and so then we review all the offers on Mondays. So over the weekend, if I get an offer, I will always respond and make sure that the buyer's agent knows that that's what we're going to do, because you don't want to keep them in the dark, because those buyers are excited, right? They want the property. They need to know if they have to go find another house if they didn't get this one. So we communicate with them and tell them all that, and plus it's up front on our instructions.
So you put it in there, I was gonna ask you, you put that
100%.
in your realtor comments?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so you list it on Thursday, you start allowing showings on
Friday.
Friday, and
For
review
the
on Monday.
open house, right?
So we like to do 2 open houses on Friday and Saturday, and the reason is, again, I think this is why they're selling for more. So as a buyer's agent, you're probably showing 5 houses or something like that, right? You're going in, you're flipping on the lights, trying to figure out where everything is. It's all dark in there, the windows are all shut. You come into my house, we're greeting you, right? We're going to tell you everything we know about that community, about the house, that all those extra characters that don't fit in the MLS. So we're like selling that house to these people and their realtor. So imagine that house versus the 4 other that they don't even know how to turn on the lights, right? So we feel like ours is better. So we try to do Friday and Saturday open houses for our new listings. Not always, but that's what we try.
And then the verbiage you put in the realtor comments.
I'll show you.
And just know this, I know Heather knows her stuff, but at the board, we've been getting lots of complaints about realtors putting that in there, that verbiage, and then taking an offer on Saturday.
Which is
And everybody's waiting till Monday.
that's a disservice to your seller,
Yes,
right?
it is,
Because
but-
there's agents who showed it that see our comment. So to her point, if you're representing a buyer, even if it says it, get your offer in right then and there so you don't miss out. I will never do that because I wrote it in the language. Also, you need to make sure it's approved with your seller, that they're okay with that. Some sellers say, show me the offer right away, because there's a chance, right, that buyer can leave if they don't want to wait 4 days. And so the seller needs to be aware of all that, and they know that that's how we do business and we share it.
Is there anything you have them sign?
No, it's in our presentation. It's just a whole conversation.
Just be careful if you put that language that you keep your word, that's all.
100%.
Yeah, otherwise you could have ethics violations, and they're debating whether it's an MLS infraction, that would be.
To
a
do
fine.
it.
Yeah,
So it should be. You
Yeah,
can't put
I
stuff in
agree.
there that's a lie.
I agree.
So ours, just all of them say refer to the documents tab when making an offer. There's offer instructions with supplemental documents. If we receive an offer after 3 p.m. on Friday, we will. It tells them what we're going to do, and then we ask for 24 hours for during the week offers. Okay, and then so we have a lot of documents at Keller Williams that you have to get stuff signed. So we try to get it all up at the front because it makes it nicer. So we have this form, and you can go to MLS and copy mine. We want the offers to go to a certain inbox. That's just because of we're trying to manage life balance. So there's someone on call, right, to do that. Anyways, it tells what our times are, the response times. It tells what to check, which lines in the contract that people always leave off. And then here's the list of the documents that have to come with the offer.
That's awesome.
And so now my transaction coordinator's life is so much more easy because all of it's there and she's not hunting it down. So.
That's a nice one.
And so,
Job.
The other thing, and so like on a weekend, like if I'm fiddling around and I see this offer, I'll go through, I'll in my mind I know what documents there are, and I'll just say, hey, I noticed you're missing the W-9. Would you mind getting it to us before we present our offer on Monday? So that way you have it. Okay?
Okay, so then you get everybody's offer, and then on Monday is when you meet with the client and you present all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What happens to this, like, in this case, this contract with an expiration date? What's that stat? I know it's probably void after that time. Do they have to resubmit it, or can you just have like let them know that that contract is one we're going with, even though the date and time has expired?
So I feel like it's a gray area. What we do may not be the right thing to do, is we'll just write a counter and adjust the time.
Most agents, I think most agents do that.
So like for this one, we
Yeah.
missed the date yesterday, so if we choose this offer, we'll just go ahead and write a counter offer. Let's say we keep everything the same that says seller to respond to buyer's offer by whatever today is by 5 p.m. All other terms remain the same, and then sign it, and then I think you're good. Jim signs it, so it must be good.
Yeah.
You can
So
tell
you
us if it doesn't.
So if it was due today at 3 p.m. and you blew the deadline, you would just put, well, that's, time for acceptance to be extended to Saturday at noon, right?
Mhm.
Right, something like that.
And then you submit the same one back that, no, it says offer rejected, never mind.
That's just on a counter.
Okay, good. So then the next page is just a list of what people are in contact. Make sure it's filled out. Your lenders and title people actually read this. So make sure it's correct, that they're representing the buyer. And plus, first it's good to represent your client, buyer, or seller, whoever it is, making sure this is filled out correctly. And also the broker's gonna catch you anyways, and it's a good catch. I don't mean that negatively. Thank goodness they're watching for us, okay?
So I work in title, like I said,
Yeah.
and we always end up having to call the agents for this, and it wastes their time, it
And
wastes our
yours.
time, and it's
You
just
could be doing something more
pointless when they could
productive.
just get it done and not have to worry about it.
Okay, so then there's our seller down there, okay? So then the next page, HOA.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
real quick? You notice how now sometimes these agents aren't filling out the listing agent info?
Yep.
And I've heard different, what's your feeling on that?
So we do it,
I mean, I do it too. I think it's a courtesy.
yeah,
It's,
you should do it.
it's annoying to me when I get an offer and I'm like.
The worst part is it's so easy to do it when you're
I
actually
know.
drafting them up, and it's a
Right.
pain in the ass to do
It's a
it right
total
now.
pain in the butt,
So,
like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know what you felt about
We need to do it.
The agent, the one that I just wrote last night, she had a document in the documents tab that had their information filled out, that we could just
Copy?
copy and paste our stuff.
That's nice.
that.
And otherwise you can find it in the MLS. If you're
Yeah.
ever is this, just go search their name in the MLS, find their listing, and you'll be able to find it. I'm gonna add that to my instructions.
Yeah, it's just as yeah.
What's your contact info?
Yeah, so
that
it's
is
to
nice.
save time.
It does save
We're not
time, because
doing
you
that.
have to go on a hunt for it sometimes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so the next page, the HOA addendum, really important. So, the sellers are supposed to fill this information out when you take the listing, and we also put this document up on our MLS as well, so that way buyers of our listings can see the documents. It's the disclosures, tells them how much money everything is, in the buyers, due diligence period, if they want, they can call this Adora Charles HOA and ask them any questions. And then what the fees are, so they outline what all the fees are. If you're the buyer, the seller filled this out. Don't take it for Bible, find it out yourself, okay? Or have your buyers call. Okay, so next page goes to, so this is what has to be done per like Arizona law. So like the CCNRs have to be pooled. There has to be like the funds, like how much money is in all like the condos. You find a lot of this like money information comes into place when you're doing like condos or townhomes. How much they're in reserves, what kind of insurance they have, all that kind of good stuff, okay? Their operating budget.
Doesn't that get pulled by title though?
Yes, and I will give you a heads up. So in our process, you didn't even want to see our checklist. This one is crazy, but because every time you get burned, you add a thing, right? So yes, and every title company you work with does it different. Some of them mail them, some of them email them to the agents, some of them email to the buyers. And a lot of times they're sending 50,000 things, and
Right.
so are the lenders, and so are we. So it's so easy to miss it.
Yeah.
So in our checklist, we have a specific phone call to the buyer. Did you receive your HOA documents and did you review them? No?
Good advice.
Okay? then you need to call the title company. Did you guys send them? On a seller, how to protect your seller, right? So we need to verify as a seller that they were sent over there and got them, because if you didn't, now there's a loophole for them out, right?
Yeah.
So, but if the title company can confirm that it was provided to them on what day, you can count back 5 days and not have to worry about that.
I had that happen to me.
Is that during your inspection period?
So they have 14 days, right? 14 business days, the HOA companies. So you're gonna be through your inspection period and everything before you get HOA.
Yes, so that's another outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Which
a
is why we
buyer-
order it right at the beginning.
Right.
We are on them knocking on the door.
I had a buyer who backed out, he wanted to back out, and I'm like, no. He said he didn't get the copy of the title, plat and all that, blah, blah, blah. And I looked through my emails, yes, he did, and then he said it wasn't legible. Because they had like photocopied it, and it was a little
Wow.
Wait till you
wonky.
get them on.
So he said I couldn't read it, so they sent him a new one and then he bailed. He just made some excuse like, oh, I don't like that there's, I was like, oh,
So he was able to get out of it then?
yeah. And I wanted to fight for the earnest for my
Yes,
seller,
the seller.
but he got out. So I'm telling you, that's why she says, she adds a line every time you get burned. 'Cause you're like, really?
Yeah, learn from us.
Yeah.
Learn. Here, great, girl. Okay, so the next page is where, on page 3 is where you negotiate the fees, okay? So he's asking the seller to pay for the transfer fee, the seller to pay for the capital improvement fee, and the seller is required by Arizona law to pay for the disclosure fee, okay? So sometimes, when you're talking to sellers up front, they don't realize that, they see the HOA fees and they think they should be the buyers. No, Arizona law requires disclosure fees to be paid by seller, okay? So there's those, so they want us to pay the transfer fee and capital improvement fee. This is, in my opinion, another way to start adding up and getting nickel and dime. So these fees right here, so let's just look, what are they? Transfer and capital, 297, I know is the capital.
No transfer.
198.
So 198. So,
Oh, they
capital,
just want the 297.
297, they want the 297 paid, okay? So just be aware of that. Some HOAs have 2 HOAs, right, in the islands, there's 2 of them. So in the islands, I just did one yesterday, it's $936 of negotiable fees. That's a big number, so be aware of that.
So when you leave the transfer fee blank and you don't put NA or anything, and as a buyer's agent, our buyer signs us agreeing to whatever, paying for whatever, and there's nothing in the transfer fee, could that be added later and then be required? Because on mine, I didn't check the transfer fee box, because nothing was in the transfer fee box, I just said that our buyer's gonna pay the capital improvement fee. But on this one, you can see that they're having, they checked seller to pay for the transfer fees, that just covering themselves because there's nothing in the transfer fee, can be added later.
So and you can tell me what you think, so I like for my team, we write, if we're representing a buyer, and like, let's say we can't get a hold of the HOA or something, we'll write in there, we'll check the boxes, and then we'll just say like, any additional fees that come up, that are not disclosed will be paid by the seller, or will be 50/50, or whatever.
Oh, and you do that in the additional terms?
Or is it like, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you'd wanna handle that on the
Up
front
front.
end. But I agree with what he did here, because the seller's saying there's none. That's unlikely, it happens, every now and again there's no transfer fee, but if there isn't, and I'm checking, okay, you pay that, then
Right, because it
basically
shouldn't be a
agree to nothing.
problem.
No
Right.
problem,
Yep.
but at least you're covering your buyer, right?
And there's no problems in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because she said there was no transfer fee, and I saw it blank, I said,
Great.
Do a lot of these fees show up, like, if you're showing homes, you're not gonna see that on MLS.
You will, but don't believe it.
Yeah, it's almost never accurate. I mean,
Never.
realtors copy realtors' listings and they're lazy, and so when it comes to fees and school districts, they just look at the last guy who had a listing and just
Right.
do
So
it.
if you're writing a listing, where do you see that? Do you have to get that information from the HOA
For the fees?
for these capital?
Yeah, so you would call the
fees?
HOA and then disclose it with the help of your
You
staff.
look on the MLS, okay, and then you see what is the phone number of the property management.
Yes, there you go.
You call that and they'll say, yep, we manage that property, and then you kind of just ask them. You kind of just confirm what the agent is saying about the fees, or what the HOA said about the fees, if they're
That can be
accurate.
quite significant sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
Fees too.
There's what, in Montalina and Queen Creek, I think their transfer fee is $2,500.
Yeah, and my capital improvement fee in my neighborhood is $2,000, so
Yeah.
that's, you wanna know that stuff.
Yeah.
But again, they work Monday through Friday, so you might be writing an offer on Saturday and they're not available to tell you what those are, so then you
check
kind
that box.
well, yeah, then, or what Heather said, is
But
if
it's
there are any
actually very
additional
well protected.
fees that have not been disclosed on this HOA documents, so I do.
Okay. So, did we get all your questions answered? Do you have anything to add in
Yeah,
or interested in
another
each
question.
No, I was just curious, like, if when you get a deal, I mean, do you like guide us through that, or how does that work? I mean, like, let's say if I were to get
Yes.
somebody and I could, like, basically.
Yes,
work
and there are a
with
lot of
you.
agents in here who are happy to help.
Because I mean, I know
you.
we're going through all this, but it's so easy to like.
Oh,
my
you're not
gosh,
gonna
yes.
remember it. Don't worry.
No.
It's not gonna mean anything to you until you're in there writing it.
Yeah, no, we'll be there to help you with that, too, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's really good to not just look at the whole documents, just call the HOA, and then advise your buyer to actually call with additional questions too, that you're not providing. A lot of times too, because, the house that I bought, I mean, there was, the fees were different by like $25 for the HOA because it was so old.
Right.
It wasn't updated, so it's a good point. And then also too, some specific HOAs have rules on pets, so like your dog could be too big, then you can't have your dog.
Some have no pets.
Yeah, if you're in like a condo townhome
Yeah.
situation, they have rules about pets.
Yeah.
Certain size and stuff, so there's a lot of little, I guess, shades of gray or things you really don't really look at or think about.
Can't park on the road, some of those.
My community.
Our Loamy Farm, Georgia's.
Question about inspections, termite inspections.
Uh-huh.
I originally heard something with a VA loan that the veteran can't pay for the termite inspection.
Right, so,
So things like.
yeah, they can, yeah. And so if you have a VA loan, let's talk about that. So if you have a VA loan, from a listening to perspective, they're already rolling their eyes, right? Because they're like, ugh, I have to pay for a termite. I have to pay for the whole escrow fee. So you need to encourage your VA buyer to not lose out on a deal and make it a little sweeter. So if it's gonna be $65, then write your offer for 65 more. And just so you know, the lender can pay those fees. So therefore, you need to have a conversation with that lender and say, listen, we're not gonna mess this deal up for our VA buyer. They did service for us and they should get to use this benefit and it should not be looked down upon. And it's your job to educate the seller's agent that it's gonna be no cost to them or whatever it is that whatever you gotta do, you gotta sell that thing.
We bought a house,
Oh.
my husband's, we got a
Okay.
VA loan, but we paid for the escrow, and I ended up finding out later on when I took the class, that I guess we didn't have to.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't know what.
Is that your cousin?
Oh my gosh.
Family.
I know.
That's why a lot of people refuse to work with family, because they're like, turn ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they should work, he's not the best, so
He's
they
not
pick
gonna
someone
get
else, that's their own
Yeah.
fault.
Then the lender's saying that would be in a normal situation, however, in Arizona, it doesn't apply, unfortunately.
What doesn't apply?
The
Yeah.
veteran not paying for
I don't think,
termite
I think the
inspection.
buyer can pay for the termite, the VA.
He said it was on the first house that he missed out on, with a different agent, it was $45, and he said it's not a big deal. I just wanna make sure I'm not gonna get in trouble by having to pay for it.
The VA buyer?
The VA buyer paid for his $45 termite inspection.
Why
Well,
can't-
but he's asking for closing costs, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
so
those go
that's-
in there.
That'll go in there, so.
If that's if the
It's
termite
not
guy
really
agrees to get
painful.
paid, well, that's if the termite guy agrees to get paid at closing, not upfront.
But he'll get refunded regardless, like if he pays out of pocket upfront for an appraisal for
So I'm
termite,
covered.
at the end, when the seller concessions comes in, that balances out and he's getting the credit
The
back.
lender
And
could
that's
give
a
him
way
40.
to explain to the
Yeah.
buyer, right?
So what we do for that is like, if they pay it or whatever, then we have a relationship with the termite company, and once they get paid, we'll have the termite company write out a check back to whoever paid. Usually I'll just pay for it, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you good
$45.
advice, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I'll pay for it, and then I'll submit that invoice to title, and then my termite guy will write me a check after he gets his check back from title.
Okay.
Okay, so pre-approval form, super important. So, we look through this and then we call, I give you a separate sheet, and that's the questions that we ask the agent. Another reason why, if you're debating on if you should accept an offer on the weekend or not, some lenders don't work on the weekends, so Mondays at least, you know, you're gonna be able to get a hold of the Fund USA,
It's a very big
Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, okay? So this, and we will not, absolutely not accept an offer until I talk to a lender, period, okay? Don't do it. It will bite you.
Can I turn off these fans?
Yeah, are you cold?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, okay, so the pre-qualification form, make sure this matches what's on the form, and then when you call to talk to the lender, you're gonna make sure that what he tells you answers the form. So, if they're married, so this is interesting, they're married, but only one person is on the loan, which is not uncommon, but that married partner is gonna have to sign a form, a document that releases their right into the property. So if, as us as a listing agent, I would wanna make sure that that gets done at the beginning of the transaction, because the last thing I want them to do is begin a divorce and then the wife goes crazy and is like, I'm not signing that form, and now your deal's done, okay? So that's gonna one thing, you're gonna check with the lender to make sure that that's on their radar, and you're gonna let the title company know too, so they know to be helping you out, okay? They are not relying on the sale or lease of their property to qualify for a loan. Super important, because I've seen it 3 times this year. They wrote us an offer without a contingency form, and it was really contingent, okay? Yep, brilliant. They are not relying on seller concessions. They're gonna do that HUD 184 form. They did not say if they're occupying it as primary, secondary, non-owner occupied. I would ask the lender that question while I'm on the phone, and I'd actually make him refill out the form. It's a single family residence. If you have a condo or townhome listing, you want to make sure that they realize that's what you're buying, because there's a whole slew of extra rules going on with those guys and HOAs and all that kind of stuff. So make sure that the lender knows what you're doing. Like that, if you were primary and now you're going to condo that you're all ready for that. The next one is have they provided the form, blah blah blah, their credit, they pulled their credit. And then we'll look at these numbers and make sure they match. So they're saying that the buyer can qualify for $328,500, which is great. That's higher than our purchase price, and it's assuming a monthly payment, and then principal and interest payment, and then 4.5% on a fixed rate. So that's pretty good for. That's why I said those loans aren't that bad for this buyer.
Yeah, that isn't bad.
They will not accept anything unless they've had all these yeses checked, the pay stubs, W-2s, all that kind of good stuff, and if there's any additional comments. Our lender on 929 will always write the buyer's a great buyer, etc. And this morning when they were talking about the lender calling, if you have a buyer, the lender calling, they should be. That's basic ABCs of customer service. If they're not, you have a problem, okay? Find another lender. They should be calling, and we CC our lender on all the emails so they know they can reply and say, hey, that buyer's a great buyer, blah, 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 okay? This is another thing that makes me a little bit nervous about this one is it's an out-of-state lender. So they, out-of-state lenders and some of the big lenders are a little bit of pain to work with, to be quite frank. They don't want to talk to you, like Bank of America won't talk to you as a listing agent. It's very frustrating. So you're not going to know anything that's going to happen until the end, and it's going to be, oh, sorry, okay? So if you're having multiple offers, that's just something to take into consideration, but if it's the only one, then you do what you got to do, right? So this one's in Oklahoma City, so when we would call him, we would make sure that he's going to give us permission to get a loan status update every week. Okay, next page is the kid.
Did you notice the wife's name is on this sign? She signed it. Like, I don't know why.
Oh yeah, she did.
You can barely see it, but.
Totally.
Cheryl.
But he's the
I know.
that's a great
It's
find.
weird.
So we would want to find it out. We gotta find it out now. Once the seller signs, they're done. So, okay, next page. Any other things on that one? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have a preferred lender that you use specifically?
I do. And I'm happy to share their information.
No, I'm just curious because it definitely helps because I've been using like VIP Mortgage in Scottsdale.
Uh-huh.
Like on the weekends, like you send an email, they're back in like 2 minutes.
Who do you use? I use them too.
Brianna, Stuart Crawford.
Okay. I use Alan Frederickson.
I don't know.
And who do you use?
Laura Edgar Guild.
Okay.
Whoever it is, you just need to have a relationship because they're going to be the ones that help you in tough times. And when shit hits the fan and something needs to happen, they're going to be there.
And that's, I'm sure your person is
100%.
always, you can reach out, right? That,
Yeah.
Whoever it is, just.
And if
make
they're
sure.
not, there's another lender down the road.
That's
so go
right.
find one.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so the next page is KW form and wire fraud. Like I said, we collect these all up front because I don't want to be chasing this crap. So get that all done. It means nothing in our contract, we just have to do it. And then the buyer advisory at KW, everyone's required to sign a buyer advisory. So we go through and have them do that. We present this in our buyer consultations and make sure that they all know where it is. And I say it in an interesting way, so that way they do it. So we'll say, okay, if there's anything that's important to you that you need to find out, you need to know. For example, if someone's died on a property, if it's been a meth lab or has bed bugs, They're not gonna tell you that, so I highly recommend you go here, until you got their interest rate, so they're gonna go lower, so.
So we do require the W-9 at KW from the agent?
Yeah.
We do, okay.
Mhm. So that's all of them, okay? So then the next page is just the lender questions. I'm gonna borrow yours, okay? This is a list of questions we ask all the lenders. You can add to yours as you see fit. So, if you have the full file of all the documents, so is it just they told you they make $500,000 a year, or do you see it on paper? If, are you missing anything that the buyer didn't see it to you? So, oh yeah, we have everything, but we don't have their tax returns, and oh, by the way, they're self-employed. That's a problem, okay? Are the down payments funds sourced and seasoned? And so, the reason why we ask that is because some lenders require money to be in an account for a certain amount of time, and we wanna make sure that the buyer is really gonna have access to that funds when it comes time. What's their credit score range? Some of them, if you go to a report, some of them will tell you, some of them won't, but at least they can give you kind of an idea. Any red flags that we're gonna have to work around. So just because it's a difficult file doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It just means that we need to be prepared for that. Do you have an automated desktop underwriting approval? So that's a program that they do. They go through. It should be on every one of them. It should give them approval. Sometimes they have to do manual underwrites, like if someone doesn't have credit or some funky situation. If it's a manual underwrite, we like to have that done before we go under contract with them. How long have you been a loan officer? Things like that. This is a good question. Do you fund your own loans or do you broker them out? There's nothing wrong with broker them out, because sometimes that's the best way to do a deal. But you have to understand when it's an in-house underwriting and in-house system, the loan is going to be super fast. If it's a broker, then maybe you need to have 45-day close instead of a 30-day close, right? Because those guys, there's a customer service mishap in between there that could happen, okay? And then how do you communicate and how often do you do it? So our lender sends LSUs every Thursday and calls everyone involved. So you just want to make sure that you're going to be able to get that information. So like Bank of America, you're probably going to get to ask you questions, but I think you're going to try, right? And then the last one that we always is the deal contingent on the sale of another property. And I always check that because it's a huge deal that, like I said, I've seen it missed 3 times this year.
So in
Any other
this
questions?
last page, you put a prequal, right? And so it says, is relying on the sale of a single property.
On this?
On my last page of this handout, there's another prequal form?
Oh, you know what? That's my second offer. I'm sorry.
Oh, got you.
Well, you just made me nervous. Right. This is gonna go with the second offer we're gonna do.
Okay, all right.
So it is. So I'm gonna show you the contingent contract.
Okay.
Give us an example of the contingency issues that you have, or
The-
so that we can.
So I had a listing and we got multiple offers, and one of the offers, those people were under contract on a house in Tempe and they wanted to buy mine in North Phoenix, and they didn't write anywhere that it was contingent upon that. So they needed their down payment from Tempe to put down on our house. So if that house wouldn't have closed, they wouldn't have the down payment, therefore they couldn't qualify. And the realtor didn't mention it, no one mentioned it, so, until we asked the question, okay? So those are good questions for you. Any questions? Yes.
Just to clarify, so these are questions you asked, like if your client is selling the home,
Yes.
you're asking these to the buyer's lender. Okay, just to clarify.
Yep. That's a good question. Okay, what do you guys think of that offer? It's okay?
I don't know, the out of state thing.
What was I asking for?
On this price, I think, what was this, $312? I think it's like $900 off. I like it. I like that there's no closing costs. They're getting them what they want, 30-day close, depending on what the lender says and how great they are on top of it. Decent. And when you're presenting this to your seller, like, you know how we talk about, like, what a pain in the ass they are because they did the carpets and stuff like that? We're not communicating that, okay? Like, what you project on them is how they're gonna feel, okay?
Yeah.
So be very, very careful. If the other agent is a jerk, it doesn't matter, okay? You can't let that mess get in the middle of being fair and getting what's done best for your client.
How do you feel about letting the listing agent know that you're a newer agent and that just communicating that up front and letting them know
No.
you don't like that?
No, I don't. And the reason why I say it is because you may be a new agent, but you're standing next to me who's gonna questions at all, you call me. And so
I
we're partners.
I will tell you this though, early on in my career, I would have seasoned agents ask me, how long have you been in it? You know, and it's so off-putting, because it's like, so just be prepared for that.
Right.
Just
Well,
be prepared that you might get asked that, because some agents do
Yeah.
that.
Like it matters, right?
Yeah, right, it's like.
So if they ask you that, what do you say?
I would be honest, I don't
Yeah,
lie.
no, you don't lie, but I used to find that very offensive when I started out, like, why?
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
because
okay, you're so
actually did that too, because they asked, and it was, a lot of times too, they try to like pull a fast one, just like,
Right.
help, you learn the hard way, so like for the final walkthrough, I said, get all these things done, and I was out of town for the week,
Mhm.
and I couldn't look because the repairs weren't done until they closed the escrow, and then, nothing got done. So then I had to cover for that, even though it was in the contract.
That's awful. And I will say, if someone did tell me, if you did tell me, I would help you along through
Right.
the transaction, because it's totally in the best interest of my clients for me to help you get your stuff done so we can close.
And
Yeah.
I agree with that, when I hear it's a newbie,
100%.
I love them, like,
So
they
do
become
I.
like my little puppy, like,
Right.
okay, we're gonna teach you the right way, because, right, and I'm gonna help you, I tell them that, like, okay, don't feel bad about that, everybody started somewhere,
Right.
and I'll help you through this process, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, why did someone ask you or something?
No, the first two I let them know.
Uh-huh.
This is my first contract, and then the second one I let her know. She was really appreciative and said that's great, because then, if you don't quite understand something, you don't sound like you're an idiot. Just newer. But this last one I didn't let them know. That's a great, I think it's pretty strong offer.
That's good.
So,
Okay, cool. So there's one. So we'll do a caution on this one real quick because we would present that to my clients. So they want to know what's going to get in their pocket, right? What are you going to deposit? So Fidelity has an app that you can do it on your phone. I just been doing this website since the beginning of time. First off, you can send this contract over to the title company on there and ask them for a cost sheet, and they're going to give you like pretty darn close to real numbers. But if you're on the weekend,
Wait, what are you asking for?
a cost sheet. We're gonna do it right now together. It's gonna tell my clients what they're gonna net. So, cost estimator.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are gonna tell me the numbers on this.
Oh, wow, so
I
you
think
go
we
to,
call
so you
it-
go to a text, see, I just use the MLS calculator,
Really?
Yeah.
I've never used it.
really?
How about you do it on this one and we'll see if it's the same.
Okay,
Is that the
I'll
same
do it
like
on
the
mine and
fee
see
sheet?
what's on.
I'm gonna do Fidelity.
Fidelity one?
Yeah.
Okay. KW.
What I select for the one?
It's a
Yeah, that's a tough one.
like pretty conventional, I would think, because it's like a down payment assistance program. Okay, what was the purchase price?
314.
And then how much were they putting down?
2,000 earnest money.
So
$5,065.
$7,065 total.
Okay. And then that one's on Gilchrist. And that one's in Maricopa County. And when's the close date?
September 24th.
September 24th. And then the property taxes, I'll go to the MLS and pull them real quick. So we do this for our clients when we go on a listing appointment. Every appointment I have will have this sheet. It'll be a great way to not have to talk about your commission. So let's see. Their taxes are $1,838. We take all our listings at 6%. And then their loan is probably at 30. This doesn't matter, but. And then I like to look at them both, okay? So great. So now it'll start. And then I know there's some of these fees I know aren't there, so I'm just gonna take them out. So they didn't ask for a home warranty, right? Nope. They did ask for a carpet cleaning, so I would add it in, honestly. So my clients, because I want them to know what they're gonna net. I'm just gonna put $200. They asked for some HOA fees, right? Can someone tell me what the disclosure fee is and the capital improvement?
You don't know the disclosure.
Oh, really?
Disclosure's on there.
It's 400. I think it's 400 and 297. I think
Oh,
Yeah.
400.
400. All right. Is there any other fees that we missed that should be in here? perfect. Okay, so then,
You said the property tax was 18 something.
yeah, I got that one. Okay, so when we take our offer over, after we had talked to the lender, we take this over. Sometimes when you have a client who a lot of sellers get stuck on having to pay a buyer's closing costs. They don't like it. They feel like they're getting taken advantage of, okay? So this is a way to present an offer and you say, listen, this is the bottom line. Does this number work for you or not? If it doesn't, great, we'll fix it. If it does, awesome, we'll sign it. Okay, so this has a list of all the fees. This is my seller side, so I go through with them and I say these are just estimates. It could change, but it'll give you a rough estimate. All their fees over here, brokerage fees, taxes. I added the carpet cleaning, the HOA, and the disclosure. So $314 minus all the costs. They're going to take away $290, $812 minus whatever they owe on the property. Okay? And so if I have two offers, which I do, I'll do a cost sheet for both offers so that they can compare dollar for dollar and see which one is the best. Because, for example, the VA costs, right? Let's say they're the same purchase price. It doesn't mean necessarily that one's better than the other, because if it's a VA and they're asking you to pay for those extra fees, or let's pretend they're asking you for some closing costs, you want to see the total picture. So $290, $812 is this one. What did you guys get on yours?
I'm working on that.
Okay.
And you just ask your title company to give you this?
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't put in their loan payoff and any of that? You're
I
just wanting-
didn't.
Yeah, I didn't, okay, I'm not gonna be able to also, so.
And I usually don't, because I want to put the responsibility on them.
Right. So, what I came up with for total costs out of property to the seller,
Uh-huh.
28, 24.
Not including commission?
Including, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I have that in there.
I have 23,187.
This net sheet from Magnus Title, can anyone access that?
Yeah, you guys can go online and do it.
Why didn't that come?
The Fidelity one, you're gonna get the same numbers. One of my agents likes the Fidelity one. I just grew up doing this, so it was just like,
The Fidelity one on the phone?
You'll get the same exact numbers.
And this one is the
Magnus.
Magnus.
Use the one use the one. Don't do like it. Use the one where the title company you're gonna go to.
Oh. Did you get yours?
No, because I don't know
The taxes.
repairs. I put
Zero.
And then miscellaneous would be,
Like that carpet thing.
so one, so 600, 897, $900.
Yeah, I was asking for the HOA fees. Yeah, I'll put that one.
And the interest rate, I'm giving the buyer's interest rate.
Yeah, it's not important for this scenario, but 4.5, it was in the disclosure.
289,665.
Yeah, so we're $1,000 off. That's close enough. Well, I mean, I know that seems
You're right.
in the grand scheme of things, and I tell them it's not going to be exact, because if the close date moves, then it changes. Okay, so now I have this other contract, which we're not going to go through all of it. I'm only going to show you two things on it.
It's not populating my.
Okay, so for this next one, I wanted to show you two things. The first one is the letter that the other agent sent us. So he said, Dana, here's our offer. Mom and dad are buying for themselves part-time, and their daughter and son-in-law with their 2 children. They teach at Kyrene School. Victor sells medical equipment in Tucson. They live in Gettysburg, retired teacher, financial guy. They bought a Pineview house, their clothing escrow on from a few years ago before their grandkids arrived. Now their 3-bedroom house in Chandler is too small, plus their brother lives here. We hope the owners will consider this, and thanks for the great communication. Okay, so it starts off everything great. So when I do this, I always CC, if I have a buyer, I always CC the lender on it. I say how great my buyers are, they have low debt to income ratio, super excited about the neighborhood, and I have them tell me something that they love about the house. They love the swimming pool, their kids are gonna enjoy it a lot, okay? And it kind of just gives a personal feel. If you go on our dialogue group, we do a real estate group, put up a like buyer's sheet basically. They pop a picture in that sheet and send over a letter, like written from the buyer with a picture of the family. And so when you're looking at agent on vacation or this super cute family, like, right, it matters when you're competing, okay? So don't be afraid to do unconventional things to get your deal done. And you need to be best friends with that selling agent, right? Like, you're friends. Even if you're not, you are not. Okay. Okay, so they did that. The only thing I wanted to show you on this one is this first one over here is the actual purchase contract for our house. So we'll go through and we'll do the cost sheet on that. And then the other thing is the house is contingent upon the sale. Did you hear him say that? A sale of another Chandler house, okay? So that's Chandler over here. So now we get to call 2 lenders, right? And because we're gonna find out from house to house to house, okay? So, let's see.
The domino begin.
Yeah. So their contract is full price, September 20th close. It's a similar contract. They use our title company that we ask, that we prefer, conventional loans. How much do they put? They're putting down a bunch of money. They're putting down $62,000. They're not asking for any closing costs. They are asking the seller to pay for a home warranty. And just so you know, when we do presentations for listing presentations, I always put in a home warranty cost on the cost sheet that I give them, and I always put in about like $1,500 in repairs. So that way we're negotiating the vendor, they're not looking like, oh my God, they want $100 for this. I say, remember, we already calculated this at the beginning. You told me that you were happy with that price, and that price included $1,500 in repairs.
That is brilliant.
So it makes so I don't care what's on that paper. You already told me $1,500. We negotiated this before we started.
I know these people.
Really? Well, don't tell them I use their contract.
That's funny.
Oh my God.
Jacqueline?
No.
Oh, the other house? Okay, so this one has the buyer contingency, and we're gonna go through this real quick. There's 2 sections to it. The first section is if the property is not under contract, okay? Sorry, keep going, it's at the end. If not, I'll give you my packet, okay? The property hasn't been sold yet, so now we have to wait for them to get an offer and all that kind of good stuff. It's a seller's market, we don't do that, okay? We don't do that. If you're a buyer, we don't do that. We go and get our house under contract first, okay? Otherwise, they're not gonna look at you seriously, and you're gonna have 0 room for negotiation. If you have to do this for some reason, because maybe, I don't know what it is, but maybe there's a reason, that offer better be hella sweet, right? Like, it better be freaking good. It better be $10,000 over list price, or you know what I mean? Not, if you get the picture, right? Has to be worth it for them. So these people are contingent upon the closing of their sale on Pineview Drive in Chandler, and they're gonna close September 20th. So what do? We go look at Pineview Drive in Chandler. We check out the property. How's the pictures? We want to know how far along are they? Are they through the inspection period? Have they got their appraisal done? Have they negotiated vendors? When we call the lender for the buyer of their Chandler house, we ask them these same questions about that buyer, right? Let's see how solid that deal is. So they also, when you submit for a buyer that's contingent, you also submit your contract for the house that you have for sale. So let's look at their buyers. So their buyers are Their buyers are putting down $55,000, so they got good buyers. Their buyers aren't asking for closing costs. And when we, one thing we didn't find out with this agent that we should have, well, I haven't talked to them yet, is where are they at in the contract? Like, have they negotiated the repairs and stuff like that? What day is it? This is 8/8. So this should be done with the inspection period. They probably haven't ordered the appraisal. You need to know, like, if it doesn't appraise, is this seller gonna reduce the price, or are they gonna mess up their deal? Because if they mess up their deal, your deal's messed up. Another question on there too is, maybe they are contingent upon the sell. Is it because they wanna be, or because they have to be? Because they don't always have to be, some people just want to be. So if worst comes to worst, can they borrow from the 401k for the down payment and then repay it back? Can they do the guild, was it called recasting program? Guild has a recasting program. If you qualify for both properties, you can buy your new house, sell your old house, make 6 payments on your new property, and let's say you're gonna get $100,000 from here. And after the 6th payment, you put the $100,000 down on, so it's like a refinance, but 1 is free until you keep your same interest rate, and it's not a refinance. So therefore, and then they readjust the payment to down to the lower payment. So they're just paying that higher payment for 6 months. But it's a great option to be a clean buyer, because then maybe they can get a better deal, because they're not contingent. So, okay, so those are our 2 offers. So what do you guys think about the second offer? I know we just breezed through it. Does the contingency make you nervous?
Well, it's already, it's already scheduled to close.
Okay.
But it's pretty common, right?
Most people, how many people have $60,000 in this room sitting right now, right? It's all in your house. It's pretty normal. So if the agents are cool, the lenders say they're good, through inspection, appraisal, and all that stuff, they don't bother me. And it's our job as a buyer, if you have a contingency, to sell it like that. This is easy peasy. I know there's a contingency, but it's okay. Don't worry. So we're good, right? So that's your job. Okay. So there's the 3. So what I would do is we'd do another cost sheet. I would take them both to my sellers. We like to present offers in person if at all possible. If not, we won't. I'll go through the entire contract like I did with you guys with the sellers, so they know what's happening, and then I'll present them the cost sheets. And then I'll have them make like a positive and a negative, right, for each offer, and then go through it. There's tons of way to negotiate. My team, we just ask for best and final offers. We tell them we have multiple offers, please send us your best and final offer by 5 p.m. And then I let my sellers look at it and then they pick the best one. So, how do you do it?
I do that, that's just bit me a couple times, you know,
Yeah.
in this market, buyers are so frustrated,
Mhm.
sometimes they'll just back out, and again, okay.
Right.
So you have to I just let my sellers know, like, you can pick one and go with it, or we can send out multiple counteroffer, and just know that some people get upset by that,
Right.
and you might lose a couple.
And I think you make a very good point. It's not our house, it's their house. They make the decision, all we do is advise them and can give them what our opinion is. So someone will say, what would you do?
Yes, they wanna know, I mean, that's, you're their advisor, so.
I say it depends on my situation.
And what would you do, Heather, with these 2?
With these 2,
Like, what would your gut tell?
well, I haven't talked to the lenders, and
Right.
that's really important to me.
Mhm.
If that 184 has been through everything, it's got underwritten and stuff like that, it's not just a pencil whip form. Actually, I would probably pick a contingent one. It's more money, it's gonna net my sellers more money. I actually like contingent because I feel like you're locked in, like, where are you gonna go? Your house is
Right.
sold, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're pretty motivated to come in here. I know that this buyers came back 2 times to see the house, so I know they like it. I know they're not gonna, I don't think they'll cancel in the middle of it because of an inspection issue. I also know that my seller is not in a hurry, so if something happens, it's okay. So they have a little bit of a room, because they're building a new build, to take a little bit of a chance to make a little bit more money.
And in this case, I kind of agree with you too. This is a little more money for my seller, and both offers have a good chunk of down payment, which tells me they're probably good
Right,
buyers,
it's not
they
an
have
negotiate.
good credit scores.
Mhm.
But you're also only as good as your I mean, all of you agents have to be working together, so how long, like, how many back do you go? In this case, it's just a couple, and maybe, hopefully you have a good rapport with the agent who's the buyer's agent on the first one.
Right.
But I've had situations where that agent was just non-communicative, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it goes back any further than that, you've gotta look at every single one, and what are the conditions, and how easy is that agent to work with, how easy is that lender responsive?
Right.
I've had them go 4 deep.
I see that too.
It's like, oh
Oh,
my
you have a
God.
question?
Yeah, what are the top 3 reasons you've seen personally why people fall through?
Inspection, so I would say expectations. So like the sellers think their house is worth $1 million and the buyers don't. And so they are continuing to shop and find a better one, maybe that is willing to do the repairs. I don't know, and then like the loan stuff, I guess, like not qualifying for a loan. I haven't seen it in a while.
What were the top 3 reasons you see people fall through?
Well, the board will tell you right now, number 1 in our board is Binzers. And so that's our failure to communicate,
Of educating.
right? To educate our buyers and sellers of how that form works and what a reasonable expectation is for
So
what you're
right.
asking to do.
And if you're a buyer right now, you're not gonna get the whole world on it, it's a seller's market. I need you to pick your top things that are most important to you and let's try to get them, okay? And then on a seller, listen, this is what you should plan for.
I love that you give them the expectation of
Upfront.
some repair costs. I love that. I'm gonna add that to my dialogue.
If they're sellers and their house is 20 years old, guess what's gonna show up on there? The underlayment of their roof is gonna be bad. Now it's a matter of we're gonna find a buyer who's willing to take it or not. If you're a buyer and you're buying a 20-year house, guess what's gonna show up? There's gonna be an underlayment issue, right? And so we need to set the expectations for our buyers for what you're getting. If you have $250,000, your air conditioner's gonna be old and your roof's gonna be old, and that's what you can afford right now, right? So when you get your equity, you need to get that fixed. So you need to remember.
And like you said, the other one is appraisal issues, where the seller thinks their house is worth $1 million. And the problem right now is the seller's market, so buyers are willing to pay more to secure the home, but you just have to tell your sellers, that's fine. You might get XYZ, but just realize it might not appraise for XYZ, you might have to come off of that, we can, you know.
Negotiate it at that time.
So appraisals are part of the issue too.
Yeah. What other questions do you have? Good. So there's, in your Ignite book, there's some really good scripts actually, on like how to communicate with people about, let's see. There's a checklist in here that I think you should print out. It talks about what to submit with. So their pre-approval, creating their CMA, looking at tax records. Oh, this is a good one. If your clients like a property, you need to call the agent and you need to have a conversation before you even sit down and start writing it. So you know what's important to that seller. Maybe they don't want to close in 2 weeks.
Right.
Maybe they want to close in 60 days. Maybe your client doesn't care and now you can get a better deal because you can do that. Maybe they need to lease it back. Like there's so many things. And nowadays I feel like agents just want to text and send an email. Get on the freaking phone. Call them.
Yes.
Call them. So make sure that the property is still available and that tell them that you're considering making an offer, right? And then build a rapport with them. Make sure we're their friends, dude. We're gonna be married to them for 30 days. I talk to them when I talk to my husband. Okay, so like let's make it good. And then we found out what's important. You can ask about activity. Who knows if they're gonna tell you the truth or not. So a question that we like to use about like for pricing of a house, like what should I offer on a house? And if the agent says, oh, there's 100 offers, first off, I take that with a grain of salt, okay? And I tell my buyer, I say, listen, at what price of this house, if I call you and say you didn't get it, are you gonna be okay? Or at what price of the house, if I call you, you're gonna start crying, okay? I don't want you to lose it over $1,000. That's $5 in your mortgage payment. And so whatever offer we submit, you need to have that feeling in your gut that that's right. Don't try to, oh, we're gonna negotiate, blah, 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 blah. We have the whole conversation. Just tell me that number and you have to be okay with it. And so if we don't get it, then we're gonna move on. And if we do, great. So, let's see. Oh, this is just Again, this is all in your book. We talked about this. Making a letter. I love the letters, honestly.
I know they were.
And making sure that they're submitting an offer, like, and you have to coach these people. They think that asking for everything is okay, and they don't know that. Maybe in a buyer's market it is, but right now it's not. In our buyer consultations, which you should be doing every single time, we like to let them know what money goes where and when they need it, so they know that they have to have an earnest deposit, that they have to have appraisal money, potentially depending on the lender, and they have to have inspection money, and then some extra money just in case they need to get like a AC inspection or something like that. So like prepare these people so they know where they need money when. It'll help their stress level go down. So if we are the buyer side, we'll ask for 24 hours. And we also prepare our people, our buyers, that may not happen. And we say, listen, the control is in the seller. Although we've asked them to respond in 24 hours, I don't want you to be anxious and wondering what the heck has happened and all over there all crazy at 5 p.m. because that's the time we told them. Like, they don't set them expectations so they're not disappointed when it doesn't come in at 5 p.m., okay? That's a question we ask for. When we write an offer to, when I call the agent, I said, how much time do your buyers or sellers need to review the offers? And you need to, if you're the buyer's agent, you need to follow up with your offer too, because if there's no silence, there's something secret happening. They're like working a side deal or something. So like, just continue to be their friend. Hey, just wanted to make sure you got our offer. Hey, do you have any questions? You know, and just keep up with people so they know that you're there.
Yeah, no, sometimes I've had offers go into my spam.
And you didn't even
know
got it.
And they didn't follow. I'm like, they're like, hey, did you get my offer? I'm like, what? So try to get receipt confirmation in the email as well as follow through with a phone call.
Let's see. Those are all good things we kind of talked about. So here's some scripts in there. I just wanted to point them out too. So when the buyer wants the seller to make unrealistic repairs, do that. We help our buyers. We get them repair estimates on the Benzers, so that way they have an idea of how much it's going to cost, so they can be prepared for it. We have a handyman that we just send it to, and then he'll give you it's high, and then I'll say, look, if these are high, you can probably find a better deal, but it's a one-stop shop. Or like, there's always roof stuff. We have a roofer this is terrible, but we only use people who will bid off of our Benzers because we don't have time for them to go out there and set. Just give me a rough estimate, and then they will. So.
There's a couple companies that specialize in Benzer repairs too.
100%. A lot of them are even licensed contractors, so that's awesome because it takes everything. This is when they want to make a low offer. Again, if someone's going to make a low offer, I'll ask them that same question. Okay, so if you make a low offer and I come back and tell you you didn't get the house, are you going to be disappointed? They say yes. All right, well then let's not do that. So this is okay. We did all this. Talked about. And I guess my biggest thing for you is remember, however you present it is how they're going to take it. So if you go, they ask for those carpets, and they want all the HOA fees, like they're going to feel that. But if it's like, oh my goodness, how great is this? They're giving you $900 only, a discount of $900. That's less than 1%. You can't even go at JCPenney. You get a 20% discount, right? Only if you get 50%. Here, they're asking for less than 1% of a discount, right? Isn't that so awesome?
You lost me.
Like for my discount, so they were only $900 off. So if you take $900 divided by the list price, it's really, in relative to all the other things in life, it's little. Okay, and there's a checklist. You guys want those? I think that's it.
This is good stuff.
Yeah. And like I said, we're like here to help. If you guys are writing an offer and it's 11:30 at night, seriously call me.
Where would you put a seller at least back on contract?
A what?
A seller at least back, where would you put that on contract?
There's actually a form for it on our intranet.
Just like a minimum or?
Yeah.
and that would be something that the seller could counter if you had a closing date that was too quick or not enough time for them, they would counter with that, attack that addendum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but your whole goal is not to have a counter. So if you kind of elicit that information on the front end, and they'll tell you, yeah, oh, man, they prefer to not move for 60 days. Then,
Right.
yeah, right.
Yes. Another thing too, we talked about it a little bit, but when you're presenting offers to your sellers, like, don't make it about the price. Like, yes, they want to know the price, but there's so much other terms, like a close date, like a lease back, all like the same title company if you're doing a simultaneous close, okay? So let's not let them get stuck on the price. Like, let's present, they're just going to want to see the price, but you need to present all of it. So,
And that's a good point too, when you're doing a contingency that's already in escrow open up one house, it's just better that it all stays at the same title company.
Heather,
yes.
You dropped your bracelet.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if it's going to let me do this. There's a form on the back office if you go to my KW and then you go to the intranet and it outlines it's working.
Make and receive offers, Ignite Power Session number 9.
My Market Center intranet and then over here somewhere.
Oh, you're looking for the lease back?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's right here.
I still have to familiarize myself with Dolly.
Oh yeah, we didn't do that.
No, and it'd be great if
I'll
you
show you
had
that
time to
later.
do that, because I don't know, I use zip forms, where I came from.
And then if you go to Market Center, I think. Market Center and then documents and then will be that form you're looking for. Oh, these are helpful. They're in here is a checklist of all the documents you need when submitting an offer for a rental, for anything, everything, vacant land, all that stuff.
And what's the name of that, where you're at?
It's the intranet. I'll show you. Let me look up this one form and I'll go back and I'll show you.
Is it on Connect or is it on MyKW?
mykw.kw.com. I don't know if you guys know this while I'm in here. There's marketing templates for like your business cards and property flyers and stuff. They're really nice actually. Office forms, there they are. Pre-possession, post-possession, they're all in here. If you're going to do one of those, write it. I would talk to Jim first so you can make sure that you're protecting everyone that needs to be protected.
So I go to
So,
Intranet, then Market Center, then Market Center again, then Documents,
yeah, did you find it?
and then Broker Checklist?
That's where those checklists are. And then otherwise there's one that says documents. That's where the rest of those forms are.
Yeah, I've got the Documents tab up. And now
You don't see it? I'll be honest with you. When I do a lease back, I write a lease. Even if it's for a
I
month.
don't do them much, but
Oh, is that easier to do?
I feel like it's better protection for, it depends on what side I'm
what
on,
did
let's
you
be
just say?
honest.
What do you do?
I write a lease, even if it's,
Oh, well, I don't do it for a few days, but if it's,
Like
well,
a
it
month?
depends, like, obviously FHA doesn't let you do it for very long. They have limitations on how long a lease back can be.
right.
But
Or VA?
I don't know about VA, I don't do those, so ask your lender.
I would,
You wouldn't tell the lender. I know, it's just,
That's kind of what I was,
you know?
well, they have to be careful one. There's a lot of issues, like, right? So let's say you're a VA buyer and you close and you let the seller stay there and the house burns down.
yep, I explained the same thing.
Who does it? Is the insurance company and the new buyer gonna cover it? No, it's a tenant in there, right? Like, and
Yeah.
they didn't get tenant insurance, they got primary residence insurance. So there's like a lot of risks, so if you're gonna be doing those, maybe talk to Jen about it.
Yes.
So you don't put yourself or your clients at risk.
Heather, is it in office forms? When you're in the documents tab?
Maybe.
And then is it option agreement lease? Well, that's, this,
One of those. No, keep going down.
someone else. Host possession agreement.
One of those.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Alright.
So that's what the brokers use. Okay, so this is Dotloop. Have you guys been into Dotloop?
Yeah.
This is where you go to submit your contracts to the broker. You can find, this is Gilchrist, isn't it?
Now, how did you go to,
Yeah.
how did you get to Dotloop?
Just dotloop.com. I think you can do it through KW, but I just go to the
It's
website.
faster to do Dotloop.com.
Uh-huh. And you have all your loops, so these are all the contracts that we have right now. And then if you click on the loop, Gilchrist, this is the one we're talking about actually. So down here, we have all of our listing documents that are required. You can tell they've been submitted to the broker. These haven't, these have. Okay, and then up here is offer one, which we reviewed, Anderson. So there's all, we uploaded these contracts. And then offer two, all their documents. And so when you go in there, like if they're gonna accept this, they just add the signature. Pick who you wanna go sign it to, just like AAR online, right? And then you save and share it, and the buyers, or our sellers in this case, would get it. And then you can, there's templates in here. Did you use the templates?
I did not.
Okay, so this is cool.
Well, maybe
So I'm just gonna add a
purchase
folder.
contract template.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you go to here, you wanna go to templates. My admin broke them down because we save ours with our own personal information, like my ID and my MLS number and stuff. So they're in here. So if you go, this is mine.
Okay.
So if you're gonna write a buyer, but there's like KWIF buyer template. So this has all the documents you need in it that they're gonna require you to do. So if you do this one,
So your info is already loaded into all of those buyer documents, so when you open that up, it's just a lot less that you have to like reinvent, you don't have to
100%.
reinvent the wheel every
yep, you already did it.
Okay, that's cool.
But you have to do that
The first time.
first and then save it as a template.
Yeah. So we'll look at the purchase contract. Yeah, so you can do everything in here. So I will say, if you're using ZipForm, the downside to this is ZipForm pulls the data from the MLS and like shoots it in there. Do you use that feature of it? Where you don't have to enter in the address. All you put in is the MLS
I know,
number.
because I'm old school, I know that,
Oh.
I know that it works like that.
This dollar doesn't have it, and I wish they did because it would save me like 20 minutes of contract. So then you're not gonna miss anything.
No, I'm starting.
Do you use that? The shoot in?
No, I do the same thing that,
Type it all in?
Yeah, I type it all in.
Okay, so you guys are really not missing anything.
No, but I can't even find it on my KW.
Dot loop?
Yeah, see, I just started in Dotloop, but I don't think this is right, like, I'm in here, but I don't think this is what I wanna be in.
So you're dot loop for some reason.
Maybe when I started,
Right,
but you should be
so
able to go to
I need to go
your
back to my
internet,
KW and try to
and
find
then
it
my
in there.
transactions, and that takes you right to
So
the
go
bottom.
here, my
So I
KW,
would try that first.
and I typed in Dotloop, but where is it? Yeah, that's where I was like, technology. It's under my transactions, so, yeah. See, I'm not in yet, I haven't started yet or anything. I'm just trying to find it through our. My transactions start.
If it doesn't, you need to get that fixed because that is like going for a while, man.
Well, and I'm using Jana right now until I get mine, but yeah, I wanna learn this, obviously, for my people.
I would ask the tech.
Okay, alright, okay.
Cause yours should be red, not blue.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, but see, they have me as an administrator somehow, so I'll ask them
I
like.
wanted to make sure I learned all sides.
Okay, so do you guys have any questions on that? Okay, yeah, go ahead, let's hear
I
it.
gotta think with commitment, so.
Yeah.
How often do you see seller carrybacks? Do you recommend it, and what do you let yours do with that?
So it depends on the situation. I see them very infrequently, and it depends on what side you're at and if the scenario makes sense. So
Is that a judgment call by you, or are you calling the lender?
the lender isn't gonna be involved
Oh, no, not like, so like, get their professional opinion.
on it.
Yeah.
So it depends. So like I did one. So I bought some land that I was gonna build my custom home on. Okay, so I knew the people. So we set up an arrangement. I said I'm gonna pay this much interest and I'm gonna pay it to you in 6 months. And it's because I didn't want to do 3 closings. Okay, so like there's certain scenarios where it works out fine. We paid them the payment, we had a servicer and everything, and it worked out fine. If you're using their carryback, you're gonna pay a higher interest rate because there has to be a reason for them to want to do that, right? Because they usually want their money right then. So you'll pay a higher interest rate, and you probably have to have 20% down anyway. So I feel like the case where it's really necessary is few and far between. So if you have bad credit or something like that, then you can't get a traditional loan, then you can go that carryback route. But I usually only see it on my end. Yeah. Are you looking for one?
Yeah.
Any other, what else do you get done? So I got a question for you guys. So we can sit here and talk about contracts all day long, right? But if you're not lead generating, you're gonna use them, so all this doesn't pertain. So tell me what you guys can do by this time next week to, like, I want one commitment from you guys of what you're gonna do to make sure that you're doing lead generation daily. I don't care what your lead generation is or how you do it or how much of it, I just want you to do it. So like, if you only want to sell 4 houses a year, then your lead generation plan is gonna look different than me if I wanna sell 100, right? So I'll go first and then you guys can go, okay? So my commitment to you guys is between now and next Friday, I will have done 2 open houses. And I will have lead generated in the mornings. We'll follow up on Mondays. And then for each open house, I will have circle prospected 100 houses around there. I will put out 15 signs and follow up, okay? Which mine is the library, I know that, but that's okay. Because I have to make a lot of money, so. Well, and it could be, like I said, it could be, I'm gonna call my 5 people on my home from work, or whatever it is, I just wanna know what it is.
One thing I wanna do is go around my neighborhood and tell them that I'm doing, with Keller Williams Realty. And.
How many houses are you gonna go to?
Well, I live like in a community.
Okay.
How many?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 10.
So you're gonna, by next Friday, you're gonna talk to 10 of your neighbors.
Maybe I can talk to more, but I'll say 10 for now.
I don't want maybe, tell me your number.
Yeah, right.
Go with
Okay.
it.
Is it 10 or 20? What is it?
20.
20, I love it. Okay, so you're gonna talk to 20 of your neighbors and tell them you're in real estate, okay?
By this time next week, I will have done 2 open houses, put out a dozen signs, and I am taking another letter around to my neighbors in my circle.
Okay.
It's gonna be about 35 homes.
Okay, what's the number? 30 homes?
Yeah, 30.
Okay, perfect, I love it.
So I'm probably gonna do,
Probably?
well, okay, I am going to, pretty much do the same thing that Marsha's doing, since I'm new to the neighborhood.
Okay.
I'd like to go and introduce myself to my neighbors
Okay.
and, let them know that I'm new to the neighborhood, and also let them know that I'm in real estate, and hopefully somebody's gonna, you know, be looking to sell,
Okay.
or so.
How many houses
I'm gonna say I'm gonna try at least 30.
you're going to do?
I'm going to do 30.
I love it, okay.
I haven't been super good at touching my sphere of
Sphere?
influence.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna have done by next week is just moving from my old CRM, my database, into eEdge, so that I'm getting into the Keller Williams system
Okay.
and learning how to use that. And I'm planning an event for a client appreciation event, like a dinner.
Awesome. So when are you gonna do your dinner?
So, I'm sure you're
Where
really
is
good
it?
at this, right? Well,
Yeah.
I'm
We did
hiring,
160 baseball people to join that game. I love
Yeah.
hiring kids.
yeah, so, a lot of my clients are seasonal, so I wanna try to catch them all when they come back. So
Okay.
it'll probably be closer to November, yeah.
Cool, awesome.
I need to use a CRM system, but, by next week I'll follow up with, 30 people that, contact information I had when I listed my house on Zillow. I had 30 people reach out to me in less than 48 hours, so.
Holy cow.
Did you do it for sale by owner?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I, did that and, yeah, 'cause this was about 6 months ago, so I'll
Okay.
circle back with everybody to.
Okay, so 30 people. And just so you know, EA, what she's talking about, dude, don't waste money on anything. Like,
No, don't.
EA is good. It has like really cool programs in there. You don't even have to fiddle with it. Like everything is in there. Once you set it up, it's good. It has 8x8 touches, 33 touches. It has all that stuff built in, and it's good stuff.
It's our CRM, right?
EA, just Keller Williams CRM. Yep. And if you go to the mykw.kw.com, it'll be on there. And the tech guy in that, right? He should do all of that.
Yeah. And I confirmed, because we had a couple questions in here that met last week before, what happens to that big command coming in? And I confirmed that it will integrate 100%. So you're not gonna lose whatever you threw into
No.
e-edge and have to start over.
But you can always export it onto a spreadsheet, and just so you know, you don't have to enter them individual, you can import them too. So you can
Do
pull
you
out.
know who knows how to do that?
I used to use the Edge before I had a team. So yeah, it's easy. I can show you. You can import your Facebook leads, or like your Facebook people, your phone.
Really?
Your Gmail,
Oh my gosh, you're
all that
right.
stuff. You can put all that in there. Okay.
I've tried and it wasn't the right format for iPhone contacts to.
Is there someone you can hire to just do it for you? I mean, I would pay
Yeah,
someone.
Scott
to do-
Leroy,
I
marketing.
would pay someone to do this for me. Like,
Scott Leroy Marketing, look
Yeah.
that up, it's
Okay.
on it's
Yeah.
on his website, and
Yeah.
you can pay him to do it.
Okay.
I may be able to help you.
What do you mean with ABA needs and?
So, you guys need to read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, in the mornings, and then at night read your contract. I'm just kidding, kinda. So,
We're giving it away if you attend every night class. That's your gift.
oh, that's cool,
The
so,
Millionaire Real
So is
Estate.
that gonna be like at the end, like our last night, is that when we're gonna?
I think you guys didn't need a last.
Cause I like to read it, but I don't wanna buy it if we're gonna get it, so.
So yeah, you can. Well, if we're giving it away, great. That's awesome. If not buy it, it's worth you $15. But so Gary Keller tells you they've done studies over all the agents who are successful in the United States and told you what to do. And so A-Bay plans it. So if someone comes to my open house, I send them a text message with my information. I send them a thank you note. I call them on Monday. I set them up on the search. I get an appointment with them. And so it tells you for 8 weeks. In order for them to remember you, you have to talk to them 8 times for 8 weeks straight. After the 8 weeks, you can put on what we call 33 touch. You're gonna touch these people 33 times a year, whether it's probably 4 phone calls, 12 newsletters, a happy birthday card, Christmas card, all that stuff, and it tells you what to do. And my point is, an e-edge has it all up there for you. It tells you to call this person, send this email, oh, we already wrote it for you, and to send it all
And
out.
it has cards that they can send
Automatic
out.
cards, happy birthday stuff, everything. So it's all built for you. So
Yeah,
spend your
okay.
time lead generating, it's not crazy marketing crap. Okay, so
Okay, my goal is to talk to at least, I guess, 5 passengers per flight.
how many?
5 per flight.
Okay.
Cause like sometimes you'll talk to somebody for a long time
Yeah.
and you don't get on to other people. But I will let all my crew members know that
I love
I'm
it.
licensed and my goal will be 5 per leg, so.
How are you gonna tell your crew members? I'm your crew member.
Oh,
How are you
we're
gonna
at the
tell them?
gate. You guys, I got my real estate license. I
Okay.
passed my test and I signed on with Keller Williams.
That's so exciting.
I'm in training, I'm so excited. If you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell or rent, I'd love a referral.
Perfect. Okay,
I've got an open house this weekend,
awesome.
Saturday, Sunday. I will follow up with people that sign in with correct information. And I will door knock 20 neighbors and let them know that I have something of value. If they're interested in how much equity they have in their house, or or some kind of I might make up that I have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter, which I don't yet, but.
Okay, you do? Yeah.
I don't have But that's kind of what I just don't want to see a neighbor's house and someone put a sign in their yard.
100%.
I've talked to like maybe 5 of them, the close ones, but
Of your neighbors?
yeah.
Okay, so is the open house you're doing in your neighborhood? Okay, so are you gonna door knock your neighborhood or the open house?
I'm gonna door knock my neighborhood. The open house just got went on the MLS today.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And I drove by it a couple times, and I didn't know if it had been door knocked by the other team or not.
I guarantee you it hasn't. Who's the listing agent?
Shivani?
Yeah, guarantee it. We're friends. If you would do that tomorrow, I guarantee it hasn't been done. It's hot. People aren't doing it.
What tips do you have when you do not open house and then when your neighbor like?
Let's role play. So I'll door knock on your house, and I'm gonna have an open house this weekend. Okay? So. Hi, I'm Heather with the Open Shore Real Estate Group. How are you today?
Oh, good.
Awesome. At least it's Friday, right? It's the weekend.
Yeah.
Did you invite me in? Oh, you're toast. You're selling your house. So they don't usually invite you in. Some of them will though. Yeah, I would say, oh, no worries. I have a flyer here. We're actually going to be having an open house at your neighbor's house down the road. It's going to be this Saturday. So if there's some extra traffic or something, I just want to apologize in advance for that. So how long have you lived in the neighborhood?
Well, actually, we moved in March.
March? Oh, awesome. What brought you to the neighborhood?
Well, my husband, job relocation, so.
Oh, okay. Where are you from?
From Texas.
Texas. That's awesome. So do you have family moving to Arizona to join you in Texas? Or
Not yet, maybe my mom later.
Oh, later? Like when?
Oh, I don't know, I'm trying to convince her, but maybe next
Convince
year.
her? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's awesome. Cool. So while you're thinking about it, do you know anybody else who might like to move into the neighborhood?
You know what, not yet, because we're new, so we don't know. I think it's in the neighborhood, but
Yeah.
we're not familiar with everybody yet, so.
Okay. So if there's one thing that you can change once you lived here since March about the neighborhood or your house, what would it be?
A pool.
Oh, you want a pool?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you know how much it costs to put in a pool?
Oh, yeah, they're expensive.
Right, and so the best person to have a pool is the second owner, because you only get a $10,000 on appraisal, right? And you're gonna pay $50,000 for a pool, right? So, hey, if I could find the same house for you and it had a pool, would you wanna move?
Yeah, but I don't know if we could do that. It's too soon, no? I mean,
Why?
we
What makes
just-
you think it's too soon?
We just bought the house in March, so I don't know.
Right, so houses are appreciating at 8% right now in this neighborhood, so let's do this.
Really?
How about I come over, set up a time to come over, and no obligation, we'll just sit through, I'll tell you what we think you could get for your house, and then you can make an educated decision to decide if you want to put the pool on your own, or if you want to go get a house with a pool. Does that sound good?
What's my husband?
Oh, okay, is he home?
No, he's not working.
He's at work?
Yes.
Oh, okay, my husband's at work too, I totally get it. Well, why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's just, I'm assuming he probably works at 8 to 5 or something,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so what if we just set an appointment for like this Thursday in the evening? And it's a couple days away, so I'll call you you can ask your husband, and if he
Yeah.
says no, then you'll call me and tell me not. Otherwise, I'll come over on Thursday at 5:30, would that be okay? All right, awesome. Well, like I said, if you know of anyone, my open house is down the road, come by, we love nosy neighbors, okay?
Sounds fine.
So I have a question about
Yeah.
that, because like she was saying that they only moved in there, right?
Yeah.
From what I know, if you sell your house before 2 years, don't you get like hit up with crazy taxes because?
Who cares if you're gonna make more money than it? I have clients that have been there for 6 months and they're gonna net $90,000. Are they gonna be
Wow.
okay paying 20 grand to Uncle Sam? Yeah.
Sure.
70 more, and
It's
it's in
income.
North Phoenix.
It's income.
It's part of life,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. So what other one did you wanna do? Your neighborhood?
The neighborhood.
Okay.
Should I give him like a candy with my car?
So don't get stuck up on gifts because you'll never go. You're gonna be over there tying popcorns for 4 days and you're not gonna go. Get in the car and go. So go get your flyer, give yourself 5 minutes to do it, print off your flyer. They're gonna throw it away anyways, so don't worry about what's on it. So if it were me and it were my neighborhood, I would put like the recent sold or something like that in there. And so,
Hi.
Hi, I am Heather. I'm actually a realtor and I'm your neighbor down there on 123 Main Street. I just, oh, you don't know where Main Street is? Oh,
I'm new here, I'm
well,
sorry.
oh, you're new. So am I. We should totally do lunch. I
Yeah.
would get a lunch better from you, by the way. So, So I said, well, that's so exciting, you know. I am new to the neighborhood, so I wanted to introduce myself to the neighbors. I do sell real estate, and the beauty of real estate, even if you're not looking to buy or sell, is if you ever need a recommendation for like a referral for a handyman or a painter or landscaper, we want you to think of me first. So I brought this flyer by for you, and it has, you know, the houses that are recently sold. You said you just moved in here, right?
Well, I'm renting though.
Oh, awesome. So a renter is the best place to be.
I have a
Yeah.
lot of renters. I have a lot of renters.
You do? They're the best. We work rentals. Also, $25 million in real estate, and I will take a rental out. I'm tell you that right now. Because in a year, guess what? I know when the lease is up. So, and they turn into them. We just have to help them. We just gotta coach them, right? So, I guess I would give you my flyer and say, look at, you know, these are the recent solds. Would you be interested in keeping it updated on in the market of what's sold in your neighborhood?
Yeah, we're probably thinking of getting a house maybe next year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Maybe
So,
to get our finances together.
oh, okay, great. So I have a really good, if you're thinking about what's making a year, just, why do you want to wait a year?
Well, we just signed up for a lease
Oh,
here,
okay.
and then I'm looking for a job.
Oh, okay, right. So let's do this. So you're looking for a year. The first step is to talk to my lenders who you can get pre-approved. Most people that come to us have credit issues, have to find a job or something like that. So then the best time to talk is now, so that way she can give you a plan of how to get that fixed between now and then. Would that be okay?
Okay.
Okay, so if you give me your number, I'll go ahead and have her call you. Is that okay? So.
I've asked my husband.
Right? Yeah. So, then I would say, let's say you're not a renter, you just live in the neighborhood. I would give you my flyer, and to go to your question about I don't have a newsletter, what you do have is an MLS, and people love to know what neighbors' houses sold for. So just say, would you like to keep updated on the houses that are sold in the market? Yeah. So then go do a monthly thing in MLS, do a search, circle the neighborhood, and send it to them once a month. And then you get to see when they open it, so you call them, hey, remember I told you I was gonna put it on? It came out, did you see it? Pretend like you didn't. Then you're not creeping on them, right? And then, yeah, and so then now you get to have another conversation about it. Or like maybe the one that sold that's like theirs, then in 3 months you get to call them and say, hey, did you see that one? How awesome is that? Are you interested in finding out what your own more? So I wouldn't worry about the whole newsletter. Like I have a team, so we have all that stuff. But like as an individual agent, especially for some of you people that are working, just pick your one thing and do it, and don't worry about all the other stuff. It doesn't matter. It's just
The
residual.
relationship,
Mhm.
the importance.
Well, and our app is, people love that thing.
100%.
It's so easy to give that out, and that lets them see. People are very curious, you know, nosy, whatever, and they love seeing everything around them, and they can see it wherever. That's very interesting to them, and it's free.
Right. Any other ones? So you said your door knocking 20.
20.
So honestly, on my team, it's okay because it's summer, but after it's not summer, we door knock every Thursday morning, okay, in our neighborhood that we farm. But for open houses, we door knock 20 houses. So like 5 to the left, 5 to the right, and then the 10 across. Those people love you. They're so freaking nosy. Like they want to know everything about the house. So why not give them an excuse to come in and invite them to the open house?
I heard
Yes,
somebody else was teaching and said they invite the neighbors to come in like an
Before.
hour before or something like that.
I think it's a great idea. We haven't done it, but I think it's a
And
great idea.
it is great too when it is you're listening and then you have enough time to know about it or research it or do the door knocking. You know, some of the ones that I've done the open house for, I like the day before. You know,
It is your listing. Every listing in here is not even ours. They're not mine, they're the broker. So they're just as much mine as yours. So don't be afraid to use Kenny Class's listings as yours. Yeah. For sure. And like you'll be surprised too, like how much people don't care what you don't know. Like I remember when I was a beginning agent, I would like learn everything about the house and the neighborhood. They don't care. Like, doesn't matter. They either like you or they don't like.
That's really true. I mean, Jeff Christ is a great example. Like people, I mean, he'll make a 5-minute connection, and the next thing you know, he's in his car showing us and they're running off, and I'm like, they barely know him,
Mm-hmm.
but they liked it. Whatever.
Right, yeah. Yeah. What other questions do you guys got? Yeah.
What do you feel is your most effective lead gen tool?
Open
If
houses.
you could do one thing.
Open houses.
Okay.
And I
Free
have
and
a
cool.
whole process for it. So you pick your open house on Monday, and you don't pick a shitty one. You pick one that you would want to go see. So just because another agent's offering up an open house doesn't mean you should do it. And you pick it in the price point you want to work. So I don't do open houses in $200,000 houses because there's no inventory. And even if I get a buyer, I can't find my house. So what's the point, right? If it's in Santan, then that's a different story. But if you're trying to sit me at, you don't want to sit at a unicorn. You want to sit at one where there's a bunch of them, okay? And the beauty is you get to pick your price point. So Amy Jones Group, they have $600,000 listings. You think, oh, there's no one to come through. Yeah, there is. And guess what? They're freaking good. So do those ones. Pick the ones you want. It's hot right now. Pick a listing with a pool. Pick a new listing that's coming on the market. Make sure that the agent, if it's not your listing, that they're advertising it for you through Zillow and Trulia and on the MLS. It doesn't happen naturally. You have to do it, okay? And then so Monday we pick it out. And then Tuesday and Wednesday we'll pull up a circle prospecting list of the numbers of the neighbors around it, and we call, hi, this is Heather with Keller Williams, how are you doing today? Great. Hey, just want to let you know we have a new listing in your neighborhood, 5 beds and 3 baths, listed at $400,000. We promised our seller that we would call through the neighborhood and see if you guys had any friends or family looking to move in the neighborhood. Can you think of anybody? No? Okay, great. Thanks so much for taking the time. We're having an open house, blah, 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 blah. And you can call any listings, okay? The Herfel Group probably calls theirs, so probably don't call those ones. The extra team probably calls theirs too. But other than that, honestly, I don't know anybody who consistently does it. We do real estate does a little bit, but you're good. So, not consistent enough to call, okay? You can call mine. We should be calling, but we don't do it, so call away. So, make that listing yours. Honestly, it doesn't have to be our listing. You can say, there's a new listing in the neighborhood that's listed for blah, 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 blah. You never said it was yours. Okay, so we call around. I try to do 100 houses in the neighborhood, inviting the neighbors. If they're not looking to buy or sell, I'll ask them. Then I'll ask them if they want to be on a monthly report, the same report, the CMA from the MLS. And then we always do a minimum of 15 open house signs, and it does matter. You're on a stage, okay? Your neighbors are looking right now, and if you're making a big old fiasco, they're gonna love it, okay? We have these dorky signs that say like, nosy neighbor, welcome, I got a funny feeling this house is for you, like whatever. And people like look at it, right? Like we're making a production, okay? So then we're supposed to do door knocking to be transparent. I'm not right now, it's too freaking hot. But we will. So even if it's only 5 houses, that's my point. Like it sounds like a lot, do what you can do. And so do your houses and then do your open house. I only do them for 2 hours. I feel like they're going to come that time if it's open, and if you do it for 6 hours, they're going to make it in that time. So just do it for 2 hours, and then on Monday do your follow-up with all those people. A word of advice, get the appointment you're better getting an appointment while you're at the open house than calling them on Monday. So try to find a reason to be able to have a buyer consultation. So hey, I know this house didn't work for you, but listen, there's like a ton of them on the market. Do you want to sit down with me on Monday? We can kind of go through the process, what money you're going to need where, and we can create a search for you so that way it'll come instantly instead of you finding it on Zillow. Sure. And then you got your appointment. Okay?
And you have them come to the office? Or?
Yeah, or Starbucks, wherever you're going to meet them.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you advertise your open houses? Are you putting them on the MLS?
Yeah, so I do put mine on the MLS, Zillow, and then all those other websites, and then we do a little bit of Facebook advertising for them. Not a lot. I think putting it on Zillow is the biggest use.
So how do they put them on Zillow?
So they have to go to Zillow.com, and then it'll say My Listings, and it will go in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, Felicia.
I can show them to you how to do it.
Okay, because with us, it's not your listing, you're just doing it for someone else.
Right.
And that does the person who actually owns the listing.
The person who owns the listing has to do it.
Okay.
And you better hound dog them too, because there's nothing worse than sitting for 2
Right,
hours
exactly.
and your listing didn't get advertised.
Because I'm hearing some of my peeps say, I didn't get one person in there, so I'm like, well, why is that? I don't know. It's a pretty vibrant market, so it's
100%.
kind of unusual that you didn't
I
get
would say
one
that's
person
very
walking through, right? So,
And listen, to that point, if 0 people come to my open house, it's still a win for me, because I door knock and I circle prospected, okay? I'm going to get something
okay,
from there.
yeah.
Calling people.
So all my new agents, just so you know, that's their plan of lead generation. They call their sphere and they do open houses. That same plan I just told you. There's no reason you can't get 50 deals if you're with that plan.
Wow.
And when I was new, that's what I did, and I didn't have a freaking database, like.
Right, no, that's what I'm
Oh
saying,
my
they have to
God.
build one, they don't have many people in there, you know?
Right,
So-
and I know a lot of new people don't like to talk to your friends and family, you guys think that. They know, like, whether you're experienced or not, those are your best deals. And some stranger is gonna try to jerry your commission.
And the referral thing, I don't think about enough either, but now that you're in a big group of agents and you're all interconnected and you've got the referral network with Kelly and all that, like, even if you don't have a big database or you don't know many people here, you know people nationwide. And what I've been saying is, if you're gonna sell a home, you know, let me know, because I will find you the best, the top 3 agents in your area, and I'll send them to you. Then I'll go contact each of those people and say, you wanna work with me? I've got someone who wants to sell their home.
Yeah.
And then you send them those 3 and you go, you vet them, because it's a relationship, you gotta like that person, you're gonna work with them. But that way you've already, but I mean, you can make tons of passive
We just
income,
got
you're not even doing
$3,000.
anything, you're
Yeah.
making a connection and you're done.
Yeah, we had a seller that moved to Boise, Idaho, we made one phone call, and it was a $4,000 referral check.
There you have it.
Literally one phone call.
So,
What about sponsors, or will it work the same way, I can sign people that are not in Arizona?
Yeah,
Yeah.
To work for Keller?
any color
And
sign.
it's
yes,
Same.
anywhere.
anywhere.
If they could be in Zambezi, and if they
Yeah.
say, Marcia,
Yeah.
Chacon got me here. Boom, you're the
Yeah,
sponsor.
Amanda, and you can, if someone's like that, Amanda can find a team leader over there and arrange all that for you, so just tell her and she'll do it. Good. All right,
Are there teams within our market center that aren't for new agents aren't strictly buyers agents?
my team needs to do buyers and sellers. Listen, if you're gonna hustle your ass and get a listing for a seller, then go right ahead, I'm gonna be right there with you, so, totally, yeah. There's, Is your,
Oh, where are you based out of?
Gilbert, just a Gilbert Business Center. I like it. I'm super excited about everyone being together.
Me too.
You're gonna get me every day. What more could you ask for? Just kidding.
Well, I'm interested in shadowing one of your open houses.
Yeah, just send me a message and I'll tell you when.
The best way to do that is to get on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And communicate.
Mhm.
This Heather's really good about.
I try to answer them. And door knocking too. Dana, one of my agents, she's only been with me for a year. She did 3 deals before me, and this year she'll do 24.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
we can count back. She's got 13 deals closed, I think, and we can count back like 8 of them tied with door knocking.
Really?
Because one of them was like a door knocking, and we did an open house there, and then there was a bunch of them. And one of her door knockers that said, "I'm never gonna sell my house," and she said exactly what you did. Well, do you want to keep it up to date with the market? Yes. And then so she would send them, and then all of a sudden he started opening them. And he got listed last Thursday.
That's great.
And it's fun too, like when you do it with people. No one wants to go on my home. That sucks. Like,
No, that's good, it's a good point.
yeah.
Because you were connecting with
What time of
Alicia.
day do you do the door knock?
So we do 9 a.m. because that's when we lead generate. Do I think you probably have better results in the evening? Yes, but remember I have those 2 cute kids that I want to be home for, so I'm willing to sacrifice my results to be at home with my family, so I'm okay going in the morning. The other thing too is though, because we do go in the evenings, I have better conversations in the morning than in the evenings. So I feel like in the evenings people have their kids are running or screaming and like trying to get dinner ready and like, you know. So more people answer, but we have better conversations in the morning. So, and again, it's about them seeing you there regularly and stuff, so. Yeah, okay? My door's always open, you can always call if you need anything. Okay?
97521.
8187. 81, sorry.
81.
Yeah,
8107.
8187. Sorry, I forgot that right. Yep, that's my number. Bear down, I'm a wildcat fan. Sorry if you want to take it too. I'm just kidding, my husband did. So you're doing an open house this weekend, where at?
Me?
Yeah.
Eastmark?
Oh, are you doing one of Shivani's? Yeah, there's some good listings out there.
I hope. Yeah, the last one I did. The last one was in Iron Crossing.
Was it slow? Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that community.
0 on Saturday. One inspector came by to give me his card. He was gonna-
Oh, it's so annoying, but yeah.
and then 2 people Sunday when church got out. And it's 240,000, and it's built. It was built.
I know which one you're talking about. So every time I've ever done a listing in Iron Crossing, it was slow. It's so weird. And we usually
Signs
get.
on Ocotillo, signs on
And she put it on MLS and Zillow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he put it on MLS. I didn't know that you had to do it separately for Zillow and stuff. So that's good to ask people, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And keep bothering them, dude. If they didn't do it, they didn't do it on purpose, right? Like, they
Right.
probably not.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're going to seriously sit there for 2 hours, like, they better freaking do it.
What
Like,
do you feel? How do you feel about asking the?
Thank you so much.
How do you feel about
Bye.
asking the listing agent for flyers or open house flyers, any kind of handouts during it? I mean, I've been printing my own off.
you
but-
should.
Okay.
Because those are your listings, and you want it to have your information on it. Do you know how to go to? I'll show you this. It's easy. This is where I used to do mine before I had
Maybe go
admin.
to this.
Um,
She might change your mind about selling.
Her house in the last month had like roof shingles came off, it was raining inside the house,
Yeah.
there's drywall damage, and I'm just thinking this is gonna happen.
so if you go to, okay, I have to remember. So let me just. I might need a minute.
It's not on the calendar.
Well, is it the one where you get my markets?
Yeah, I was gonna
Daily
look at
Digest?
one of these.
It's on Wednesday, the 29th. I believe it's at 6:30 p.m. And it's at Brook
I've been having
and
a lender.
Baker.
Do it for you. That's fine.
Been the same ones. I didn't want to ask him, like, as I use it for social media, letting people know,
Mhm.
just to say I put on there. But he's been sending me the same ones. So I want to say, hey, dude, can you send me a
It's
different
at
style? I don't want to sound.
3225.
Because I mean,
Doesn't
I
matter.
haven't generated any business for him, but
You will though.
yeah.
Suite 120. And it's at Fairway Mortgage. And it's called Brooks Fan Baker, which is a good
I just showed another agent this.
That's in Phoenix. Yeah, downtown Phoenix. It's on Wednesday. Yeah.
There it is. So you go to my marketing. Did you see where I went?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's my campaigns or my designs.
Just listening to
Well, this is all
speakers today,
KW
it
too.
changed my
Have you
mind
seen
on
this?
how
It's so
I
cool.
in the future, 'cause I have somebody sell kind of rental.
Oh, yeah.
Like save designs, and then you can just go to
Flyer,
flyers.
yeah.
You know, and I don't know a lot of.
And then like once you create it, so this is my old flyer I used to use every time.
Hashtag code red.
That's right. It's right there, and then you can just get the pictures off the MLS, and then you're good, and it has all your information on it. Because if I were to do one for you, I'd put my stuff on it. But you can use my signs if you want.
How do they like,
Yeah? That's it?
no,
He's working on it.
I wrote my third one last night.
Congratulations.
For the same client, but it's he's kind of realized that with the amount of concessions he needs, we gotta be.
For sure.
So it's, I feel good about it. I'm gonna follow up with the listing agent. She got it. I sent it late last night. I texted her this morning, and she's gonna receive it.
to write, right?
And we're quite good over listing. She sent me some comps saying I don't think it'll be a problem. Appraising. I let her know that we can't cover the gap if it doesn't.
Because it saves you a lot of money.
He really likes it. He really wants to get into it. But he just flew to Seattle last night, so.
Spread yourself.
Very available for you.
I said we're gonna have to do some inspection if it goes through. I told him.
Don't work here.
Talking about the insurance thing, I told him we need to make sure that it's insurable. So, it's exciting. It's
They're
definitely,
getting harder to find.
once that something comes up, I'm like, damn, did I put it on?
You're welcome.
But I think it's okay.
You'll be good.
Yeah,
You'll be good. And you have plenty of people to ask.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for the class.
You're welcome. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, thank you.
What are you doing here?
Was that your?
My first Ignite? No. My second one.
What's that? What's taking you with it?
Oh,
I need agents. I need agents.
See,
There's always an ulterior motive.
I know, but I still didn't know that you were doing it. That's so good. You know, I celebrated your
So I've been visiting for the last 2 years.
See you in a while.
Staying there, my wife's in nursing school, she'll be done in April.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be able to.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I didn't wanna have a
Amazing.
mortgage or any serious financial burden. I moved out there, paid off cars, and we sold our house in West Seattle, and moved to home.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm getting raised.
I moved out here with my girlfriend, so I gotta stay right away.
I hear you.
I'm
gonna do it.
For me, it's like a first contract, but it's really like the listings, doing a listing, actually putting everything out like in MLS, and then really the whole like, like I only got my license because I thought I was just gonna buy a house and rent it out.
Yeah.
But I was just like, man, I'm gonna try and get my license. So that's my only thing.
I'm definitely interested in the investment side. That would be ideal. My brother's selling business in North Idaho, and sells to Adam. He's down here too, but he's doing the winter. Once that sells, he wants to, and we still pay third month, but he wants to invest down here and some of that stuff. So that would be ideal. But yeah, we just have to this year. It's definitely.
I don't even see what else is going on outside, so.
Start buying some open houses and kind of follow up.
Yeah.
But
That's why I joined the team, because what comes more of it is 100% commission, so what if you just keep a $300 transaction? So as a buyer or like investor, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But like, these actually learning how to do something that's so big that helps you.
yeah.
So, you have been licensed since last, we've done for, and I had to stay there 6 months, so then after that, I was like, yeah, you probably for the team. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, you?
Good.
And then one of my old employees who's running a house up in Cleveland, he works for Keller Williams, and oh, you should go work around here for a team. So that's when I talked to the Ty, like,
Yeah, Ty wants to.
so.
And so you said how long ago Keller Williams?
No, I haven't been with them yet. He just said coming up.
Oh, I
with
closed
basic
this.
classes.
Check them out.
So, yeah, I want to switch my license in October, October 1st, because I have so many, I gotta travel so much in September.
Yeah. And are you going to